Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 108th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by 8bit.net and Audio Technica. I am your not so humble host, Brendan White. You can find me everywhere at Brendan8bit. Joined today, my two usual partners in crime, my two other tips of the spear, my other prongs of the trident, my other two bits of chicken in my three-piece feed. We've got Miss Ali Hart, who can be found at Miss Ali Hart, and we've got Saleem Abraham, who can be found at Saleem TD. Welcome back for this E3 flavoured Hungry Gamers. How you doing?
I'm hungry now. I want chicken.
I was pleasantly surprised by the chicken one. You've been really using that spear trident analogy for a long time now. It's getting old. I was just thinking, he needs a new one. And then you came out of nowhere with three-piece feed and totally redeemed yourself. Well done.
Yeah. I'm known to have moments of brilliance occasionally. It's not an often sort of type of situation, so I'm happy that this is going to be recorded forever. So, you know, when I'm old and down on my luck, I can go back and listen to this and go, remember that time I got some praise for being witty about bits of chicken?
It happened in episode 108 of the Hungry Gamers. Therefore, it is fact. And, of course, it is. You are a witty son of a bitch.
I will be sure to show this to my grandkids one day when I'm old and frail.
Who the fuck is Ali? Who the fuck is Saleem?
You know Uncle Dream and Nana Ali. You know these two.
Hang on, how come I went up one? How come he's uncle and I'm Nana?
He's got a couple of years on us still, so sort of had to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Actually, yeah, we're roughly the same age, so it makes sense. I'd probably have the greys as well.
So we're here. We are recording on a Wednesday. The E3 showcase, well, at least the conferences have officially wrapped as of today. Nintendo was the last one to peddle their wares this morning. I'm excited to unpack your thoughts and your high points and your low points from the last 3 days. Before we dive into it, I just wanted to ask as well, did any of yourselves get up at one of the sort of insanely early time slots to watch, like, say, Microsoft, for example, which was on at, what was it, 3 a.m.? I think 4 a.m. It was something painful.
I thought... I know I got up at 6 a.m. for one of the conferences.
Oh, no, Microsoft was 6, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Square was 3.
Yeah. I got up for the Microsoft one.
Me too.
Oh, sorry, Ali.
Oh, no, I had nothing to say except for, well, I'm always up at that hour anyway, so it's not like technically I just woke up and happened to be in time.
I was still awake last night for the Nintendo conference at 2 a.m.
Oof.
So I caught the first half an hour of that before I fell asleep.
What were you doing up till 2?
I was just hanging out for Nintendo, dude. I was so keen to see the Nintendo showcase, to see what they would do with Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu, and did not disappoint until I fell asleep, and then when I woke up and watched the rest of it, did not disappoint me then either. Great wrap, great recap.
Definitely. And that's why the listeners come here, for those cutting edge opinions just like that. There.
Yeah,
but
it gets better. Just stay with us for a little bit longer.
It does. So before we go into E3, maybe have you guys been playing anything of note? Anything you want to update us on that you've been sort of smashing through this week?
I've actually been continuing on with Detroit Become Human. Now, last episode I mentioned that I thought I killed off my character, therefore killed off a storyline. I actually didn't. Apparently, I get a second chance, and what I've learned is you actually get multiple chances with this character, who is like more of a detective android.
We are talking of Connor.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But the interesting thing that they say is that if you keep dying, it keeps on corrupting your case and what you remember and what you don't. And I'm like, oh, shit.
That's so cool.
Yeah, well, I've already killed him twice. So I thought the first time, I'm like, oh, good, I get a second chance. Boom, killed him again.
Connor, no.
So what does that do in terms of corrupting the case? Does that, like, does that change... you know, who killed who, or the evidence? Like, does he misremember things? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's going to, like, interrupt on what my character actually remembers, or what my character can actually bring up. Like,
right.
In conversation.
Yeah, exactly right. But the detective that you work with, Lieutenant Anderson?
Hank.
Oh.
Hank Anderson.
Oh, why do I remember him as his professional name? Maybe I'm very Connorish. But isn't he not the bad guy, but the training guy from Starship Troopers?
Yes, he is. He's the one where the larger guy takes his helmet off and gets shot in the head. He's the guy that's training them all up at the start. He's obviously got the crew cut back then.
Yeah,
but
he's got the
that's
crew
him.
cut and everything. But I'm like looking at him, I'm like, you are that guy, aren't you? And I can't get that out of my head. It's like, it's because it's futuristic. I'm like, oh, he became a detective and now he's like washed up. So I've got like that whole story going in my head now that doesn't even exist. But you get to pet a dog in this game too, so it already earns more points as well. So,
Ali, how are you finding it? Are you still really enjoying your time with it? Like now that you've sort of chipped in a little bit further into the story, obviously Connor's died twice now, but like, how are you enjoying the 3 arcs? Obviously you've got Marcus, you've got Kara and Alice, and then you've got Connor. How are you finding them?
So I thought I was going to really get into Marcus's story, but I'm not. I actually really don't care for his. I love Connor's story. I love the whole detective work. But then Kara and Alice.
Mm-hmm.
So I still haven't finished this game yet. And I know our listeners won't believe me, but I get too emotional playing this game. I've cried multiple times, and so I actually have to stop playing because I'm getting a little bit too emotional playing the game.
Yeah.
I do have a heart in here. Only a game about fucking androids could break it. But yeah, it's just, I get too like, okay, I think I need a break. So I've had to do it in like segments because, yeah, it's pretty tough.
Their story arc rattled me from almost the get-go. Like right from the jump when you come home after getting repaired, in the android factory and stuff, and you see Alice and you meet, I can't remember her dad's name, but he's a drunken mess. And from there, I was hooked and I was just drawn in, and I was the same. Like I never had to stop playing the game, but there was times where I was like jaw to the floor, emotionally sort of distraught, a couple of tears here or there, and a few scenes as well. So I feel you. It's great storytelling.
It's funny because I remember last week when you said, like, no, like, I wanted to follow down this storyline, but after a while I got really attached and I completely went against what my, normal instincts would be. Yeah, I kind of went that way too. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. So, I don't know where this is going. So far, Connor's my only death twice. But everyone else, I think, is relatively okay. They're actually doing really well, considering.
That's good. I'm excited to unpack this with you more offline once you've finished it and sort of talk about where your story went and when our paths sort of veered off.
I don't want to finish it. I'm really scared of fucking it up now. I'm really anxious and nervous that I'm going to fuck up something because I'm doing...
I did, and it hurt me bad.
Oh, no. So... yeah, that's why I haven't finished it. I'm just like, I get too emotional and now I'm really anxious about fucking it up.
Can't help but notice that there's a printer running in the background there.
Yeah, it's that's actually, I'm building androids over here. That was sort of the AI becoming self-aware. Spoilers a little bit to tie in nicely.
Good save. Yeah. Cut them audience members. Tricks.
They bought it, didn't they?
So just to bring everyone else in on the joke, because I feel like it needs to happen, we waited 15 minutes at the start of tonight before we hit record so that Brendan could print off his E3 notes. His printer, as you can tell, time travelled from the 1980s to be with us here tonight for E3. And look, to be honest, I'm grateful. I'm just super grateful because it's the dumbest, funniest thing.
It'd be made even better if it was one of those old dot matrix printers where you have to spool the paper in, and then when it's done printing, you sort of tear it off along the line.
I kind of wish this was like a video podcast so that we could just put an image of the printer on the screen right now for everyone at home. It should go up on the website, on the Twitters at least, just so that everyone can see what you're rolling printer
Okay,
wise.
I'll take a photo.
But give it eyes and
release
arms and just write Detroit because
I'll try and work out how to reword Epson into somebody's name, and, or it could be my stepson. It's my android, the stepson robot.
Don't let it near me. I'll probably kill it. Oh, that was dark. Sorry.
And then cry about it.
So I have been playing a little ditty by a company called Hi-Res Studios, and the game is known as Realm Royale. So it is yet another one of these games in an area that not many people know about called Battle Royale. It's taken the best parts in my sort of bastardized description of this game. It's the best parts of Fortnite and the best parts of World of Warcraft. So you've got 5 separate character classes. You've got specific abilities that you can map to, your keys or your controller. You've obviously got the same dynamics that you do in traditional Battle Royale games where it's, 100 down to 1, whether it be solos, duos, or squads of 4. But one other cool thing I've liked, because they do play on that sort of more quirky side of the Battle Royale games. When you do get down, in these games you get shot, usually go to ground to get healed. In Realm Royale, when you get shot, you become a chicken. And you run around with little white flag and you're clucking, and this like chicken-esque soundtrack plays. And if you can stay alive for 30 seconds, you then respawn back as your character class. So, and you've got 3 cracks at that in-game. So you've got 3 second chances to, make it to the final dance to win one of those Crown Royales. But it's so fun. It is so fun. It is quirky. It knows what it's trying to be, and it knows what it's not trying to be. Like, there's no building from like in Fortnite. There's no sort of serious, tense, sort of long-range shootouts or camping in a building a la you'd see in PUBG. It's just running around, shooting, using your abilities. Like the classes, there's Warrior, there's Assassin, there's Mage, there's Hunter, and there's Engineer. They're the 5, and they've got their own sort of different sort of play styles, obviously. And then you get an ultimate weapon for each one of those guys when you level it up in a forge. So when you scrap weapons, kill enemies and things like that, you get shards, and then X amount of shards you can get your ultimate weapon, your ultimate piece of armor, or your ultimate ability. So there's just this new little fun spin that's chucked on top of the Battle Royale sort of scene that is, extremely oversaturated at the moment, but it stands out very, very well, and it's well worth playing. I really want to play with you guys.
Well, I've actually installed it based on your advice, so I will give that one a go. I just want to be a chicken.
It's so funny. It is ridiculous. Hey, Dream, have you seen much at all for Realm Royale yet?
Yeah, I've seen plenty. I haven't installed it yet because, and you mentioned just a moment ago before that it has Australian servers now. So when it launched, it didn't. And the streamers I was watching were just having like latency issues, so it didn't really seem like and their computers are like high-end, mine's crap, my internet's not the best, so it wasn't a good fit, but now it probably is. It looks interesting, and looks about as interesting as a Battle Royale game can look, I think. I wonder how long it'll be around. Like, now that... Because you see, like, the bit of a trend here now, where it's like, PUBG was explosive. This time last year, all anyone was talking about was PUBG. That's all anyone could fucking talk about. PAX last year, PUBG everywhere. And then Fortnite blew it out of the water. And when you look at Twitch now, like, Realm Royale is already hitting the 100,000 viewers mark. Over the weekend, it was more popular than Fortnite. People are talking about it in a really positive way. So it's like, well, okay, what does this mean for Fortnite? Is it kind of had its day already? And then just with E3 going by and like 3 or 4 new Battle Royale games announced or modes announced, it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, it's crazy. It's madness. I like this game. I'm just curious, like, more than anything, about how well it's going to do and for how long.
I think you'll enjoy it, especially because you're a bit of a WoW fan, obviously. So I think you'll enjoy the class-based style where you've got not only your weapons you're picking up, whether it be a gun, a crossbow, a sword, or your 2 ultimate attacks. So you've got, I think there's 4 different ones you can get per class, and you can only obviously carry 2 of them at once. So you can mix and match if you want to more so be attack or more defensive or more of a support hero, depending on the class. So there is a lot of utility and variety in how you want to go about it.
Yeah, there is. Like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's interesting. And like that on its own merit is kind of reason enough to play the game. Like, again, I'm actually just more curious about Battle Royale in general now. It's like, well, what's the next one going to be? Is the next one a racing game or some shit in a Battle Royale mode? And the one after that is an RPG in a Battle Royale mode. And like, this is clearly just like MOBA. This is more MOBA, more than RPG, I think. Game mechanics built into a Battle Royale system.
Yeah, definitely.
And it almost annoys me. Like, it's just, you can't deny it. Like, Battle Royales are just the one thing everyone loves, even the critics, but it's like, it's also kind of, I don't know, I'm fatigued. I'm BR fatigued.
I think that's a fair statement to say, being like kind of fatigued and a little bit overwhelmed now. It's just kind of...
Yeah.
I have a question with this one. So you can have it play as a team.
Yes.
Can you have a whole team of the same kind of class, or do you have to divvy it up?
No, you can.
Yeah, you
so
can.
so you could have 4 hunters or 4 mages. You can mix it up as much as like. It's not as if it's sort of like Overwatch where, you know, someone selects that character and then they're blanked out. You can have
exactly what I was
can have
thinking.
a team makeup however you choose, which is great because, you know, you could have 2 warriors. One could be more support and can be dropping shields and health buffs, and the other one can be more the sort of attack or, you know, pseudo tank for it as well. So no, it's good. It's good fun. It's really good.
You can't change between them.
No, you're locked in whole match.
Yeah, like in Overwatch where you change between your heroes.
Yep. You can change out your abilities on the fly, but yeah, you can't change your hero or your character class. So, but no, it's really good.
But like and I was watching it. Sorry, just to kind of give a bit of a positive note to it. Like, I was watching it the other night. I think the guys I was watching they were crafting. You have to go to like a forge and craft your gear or spells, and it like that's a cool dynamic where you have now these not stronghold, but like these points of interest on the map, which will attract people to go there and actually fight. That to me really interested me. Like, it's creating zones now where it's actually really valuable for you to get there, and it's not because there's a loot box like chest thing there. I think it is clever. I think it's certainly more original than Fortnite when you compare it to PUBG and H1Z1.
It's
like they've actually put more effort in than just like building.
It's really well done.
Not to shit on building, because building's good.
Yeah, building's okay. I'm just crap at it.
It's okay. It's just like this is obviously a more original ideas on top of the Battle Royale format.
But as you said, Sam, the forge mechanic that they've instilled in the game is fantastic. Like, obviously there is a high reward for the player to go there and try and forge their ultimate weapon, their ultimate ability, or their ultimate piece of armor. But on the back of that, the second someone's using the forge, you can see smoke coming out of the chimney. So you know when somebody's in there. So that, as you said, there's a real sort of sense of urgency or a push to get there. Because if you kill those people that are in there using the forge, you can pick up their weapons once, or their armor or their item once it's been crafted as well. So there's a lot of shenanigans at those forges. Every single game we've played, it always ends up with some kind of chaos there. And
I gotta say, you got me a bit hyped.
And the other thing that I want to mention too is everybody has a mount. So you've got a horse mount that you can summon anytime except inside a house or a building. So you can you can traverse the map really quickly as well.
Well, I can't wait to play this one.
And it's
Friday.
It's free Friday. Yes, it's so good.
What's with these good games being free lately?
They're sneaky. They're sneaky because there is on the home menu there's a section there for Battle Pass, which is obviously not yet clickable. I've already seen different skins come out for, say, your chicken. When you do get down, there's like a sort of an old timey criminal chicken with like the black eye band and like the black and white striped sort of prison outfits.
Nice.
So you're going to start to see a lot of that. But that's where they'll make. It's just like Fortnite. They'll have skins on rotation.
It's the same thing.
But dressing up a chicken?
It's so cute.
Yeah.
They've got my money.
It's
They've
so
already
cute.
got it.
Like you sit there because when you're running around, your chicken's making noise. But if you stop, your chicken stops making noise. You're just sitting there, like in a corner, shaking with a little white flag in his hand. He's got like a black eye shiner, and he's just this panicked little chicken, and it's fucking so good.
I don't want to play this now.
Maybe after this, who knows? See how we're feeling.
Yeah, maybe.
It's so fun though. Seriously, I recommend anyone that's a fan of the Battle Royale genre or haven't been sure of Battle Royale, but maybe they like a bit of the, sort of that more role-play mechanic or like a WoW-based sort of flavoured game, this is a good entry point for you guys and girls out there to give it a crack. And it's free.
That's a great sales point.
Speaking of WoW, I this week had. I feel like my gaming this week is kind of like it's the kick in the teeth I deserve for playing games like World of Warcraft and League of Legends. I'll start with League of Legends. I haven't played it for a while, and I only picked it up recently. I talked about it a little bit last week, so I just thought I'd do ranked for whatever reason. I was like, I'm curious to see how competitive I really am now. And the first 10 matches you play in ranked are your placement matches. They figure out what league you actually fall into. Now, there are 10 of these, and I was at 1 loss and 7 wins out of 8 games. And I was really starting to feel confident. I was like, this is not a fluke. I am obviously a fucking legend at this game. I was getting, you get scored at the end of each game now, like S through to like, I think D or E or whatever. And I was getting like A+, S-, S-, like S+ some games. I was really like nailing it. And I was feeling really good, and I was blown away by my own awesomeness in League of Legends. It'd been so long, I've come back to this game. I'm obviously a prodigy at the age of 28. So, and the 1 loss I got as well wasn't actually a loss, it was a disconnect from my machine. My machine DC'd, when I got back in, the game had ended because of that. So I was like, I'm almost perfect. I ended up getting 9 wins and that 1 disconnect. And I got placed in Silver 5, which is the second lowest division, lowest rank of that division, Silver 5.
So they did not respect your 9 and 1.
It's almost like they knew I was fucking disappointed, because the little message that comes up to tell you like what rank you're in, it said, you're in Silver 5. Please be mindful that most players start in a division lower than where they finished in the previous season. Like almost as if to say, we get it, you did good, so we'll give you Silver 5, but be grateful because we could have made you Bronze.
Oh, wow. Those sassy Riot bastards.
That's how I read it. And I have a bad habit of reading or taking everything to offense as like some kind of personal attack on my character. It happens often, obviously. So I took this to be an attack on my character, promptly uninstalled League of Legends.
Good choice.
But I maintain that I am the fucking best support, S-rank support in the game.
I will say, when we used to play many, many moons ago, you were always supporting me exceptionally. So I'll give you that. I'll give you your due.
I still try and support you even now in real life, Brendan. Even now. So that was the first kind of spanking I got by video games this week. The second one's just kind of like obvious. So in World of Warcraft, everyone knows you fly. You can fly around and stuff. And back in the old expansions, it used to just be like, when you get max level, you just buy the flying license. Like, that's all you have to do. You just spend some gold and then you can fly everywhere.
You buy a license?
Yeah, it's how they limit your ability to fly. So the thinking, I think, at the time is just you can walk around and shit and use like ground mounts until you hit max level, and then they let you fly everywhere. You just spend gold for the privilege. But Blizzard didn't like that. They thought, like, I think that there's so much good game content in there, and flying really cheats a lot of that. And so they really wanted to stop flying in later expansions, and obviously the player base just lost their shit because people just want to grind and like, you know, go and farm mats and shit. So like flying is crucial. So Blizzard's like, all right, we'll let you fly, but you've got to do all of this shit. Like all of this stuff.
So what is it, like a ridiculous quest line they've implemented to make it happen?
It's like ridiculous achievements, right? And it's in every expansion for the last, I think, 3. So I did all of that shit. I did the achievements to earn the flying mount. I looked at how much playtime I have on this character. And because this character was like one of those like rush to 110 characters, like I bought the 110 boost. All the game time I had on this guy was like directly contributing to these achievements. It took 5 days of game time. Yeah, like whatever that works out to be, 122 hours, I think it is. Yeah, absolutely. Or less, 120 something. But yeah, it took me that fucking long to get this flying mount. And the last part of it was like, in particular, like a real grind, because you have to grind rep. And the only way to do that is through quests. And you can only do so many in a day. So every day I'll be logging in, trying to do these quests. And I finally did it. And I like got the flying mount out in the fucking Broken Isles where like I just got the license to fly. And the thing started flying. And I started yelling at the top of my lungs, holy shit, fuck, ah! Like so fucking excited. I've never been this excited in my life. And then, like, all at once, reality came crashing down on me. I was like, wait, what now? What? Straight away. No fucking idea what to do next. Why am I playing this game? Where do I go? I was just so lost. I was a lost little puppy straight away.
Sad.
5 days.
I just picture that scene from Free Willy where like you're almost a little boy doing the raised fist in the air and your like mounts flying above you. And yeah, in Free Willy 12 or whatever it'd be these days, there'd be, yeah, what do I do now? My pet orca whale is fucked off. Where does life take me now?
Yeah. And I don't have a valid answer for that. Heroes of the Storm, is that what you suggested?
No,
Ali?
I said should have gone to school.
Yeah.
I meant that for the 12-year-old kid for Free Willy. Like,
oh, right. I should have gone as well, maybe. I don't know. So I had this weird week of gaming where I felt like I achieved so much, only to realize that I achieved nothing. And that my gaming life is still empty and hollow. And I feel like it's always going to be this way. I need something more satisfying.
You need to download Realm Royale. You also need to go buy a copy of God of War and also Detroit Become Human.
yeah.
Well, what I have done, and this might actually be doubling down on said week of nothingness. I downloaded Path of Exile.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, which is like dense. Is the only way I can explain it. It is just dense. So I'm gonna take a deep dive into that this week, I think, and see what comes up. But if you ever want to go flying in Broken Isles, I'm your boy. I'm your boy. Come along with me, and I'll show you the wonders of Valrajar or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know.
You're
Broken
really
Isles.
selling
This
it.
boy can fly.
Sam will be your Aladdin. He will show you the world.
Yeah.
That is my week in gaming.
Well, should we move on to what we might call the world's week in gaming, with the biggest event in the gaming calendar held in Los Angeles, California, E3 2018. The press conferences have officially closed, as mentioned in the opener. We move into the E3 show now for the remainder of the week. But should we dive in and talk about what our thoughts are on the event? What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah.
So we were talking, listeners, and we've decided we're not going to do sort of like a conference by conference recap, because that's just insane. The amount of games and miles to cover to give opinions and all that would make this podcast run maybe 5-6 hours. We don't want to do that. We're not about that, and we don't want to put you guys through that. So we're going to sort of compress it down.
It would be an ordeal. It would definitely be an ordeal.
We'd probably all come out of it for the worse sort of thing. It's not one where you come out a changed person for the better. It's you're looking for a needle to stick in your veins after 6 hours of that kind of nonsense. Like, it is some heavy shit.
Graphic.
So dark.
It is. And it may tie in with some of our thoughts on E3. There was some interesting things shown or not shown. But what we're going to do is we're going to sort of compress our recap into our own personal top fives. So that can be a gaming moment, a announcement, a conference in general, and then we're going to round it off with our best and worst in show, and that's going to be best game, best conference, and then obviously worst game and worst conference attached on the back of that too. So should we start off with our fifth or our number 5 in our sort of top 5 for the list? Ali, what are you chucking in as your number 5 in this list here?
Just noticed I must have been a little bit hungry because I wrote Elder Scrolls 6.
They're stale.
They've been in there for a long time. I've written wasn't much, but I did ask last week. I think I mentioned that if I wanted something, I just want the tiniest bit. I just want just a little tiny bit. And boy, golly, did they serve me just a fucking tiny little bit.
They certainly heard you.
Yeah, those
loud and
bastards.
clear.
Almost nothing. You got almost nothing. In fact, it might have been better to show nothing and just do what they did for the Star Wars review, where you just have your man in the audience and it's like, yeah, we're doing it. Yeah, Star Wars.
It's out next year.
I mean,
I don't know his name. Hey, Brendan, do you have that on a note somewhere?
I've got that many notes. It's in here somewhere, but it's the guy that's the head of Respawn Entertainment. I can't remember his name though.
That's it. Yeah.
But I guess, for them saying, the rationale of, at least we know they're making it. It's like, of course they're fucking making it.
Yeah. They're just not going to follow up their biggest game ever.
I appreciate the jokes and the whole skit that they did with, playing it on the Alexa, the Amazon Dot or whatever it is. Apparently that's real. Apparently
it is real.
Yeah.
It's real. You can
yeah.
download that sort of firmware update via Amazon and get it. Sadly, it's not available in the Australian region. You can only buy it via the US store. But it's a real thing. I watched some YouTube videos of people that had it activated already, and it is fucking fantastic.
Oh, damn. Well, of course we wouldn't have access to it. Why would we? Fucking Australia. But yeah, I made it my number 5 because technically I got what I wanted.
What I really didn't like about that specifically was that we don't have a title for it at all. Like Skyrim, Morrowind, we got nothing to sort of indicate what kind of Elder Scrolls game it is. It's really bare bones.
Well, and the thing is, if you listen to some of the verbiage that Todd was throwing around in the conference, this game sounds like it is for next gen. We won't see this game on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. We're going to see this on PS5 and Xbox 152 or whatever they're going to call this console. So this game's still probably 4 years away.
I hope they like fire. I'm sorry, I'm sick of waiting.
Yeah. My friend, I was talking about it with my buddy who said it will come out, he's my age, 28. He's like, it'll come out when we're 32, and I don't know if I want to have enough time to play a game like this at 32. If I do, where the fuck am I? And it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but it really will be more than 10 years after Skyrim that we're getting the follow-up.
Hang on. Fuck your friend's comment this time.
Yeah, I'm 32 in 6 weeks' time.
He's not a gamer like us. He's not a gamer like us.
He's some bloody street worker on the corner somewhere.
No, but I think it sticks with me because it's a... I think it sticks with me because it's an interesting comment about the audience of Skyrim and the average gamer. Fucking not everyone's going to be around for 10 years for the follow-up of, the game they love.
You're saying people are dying?
No, I'm saying people move on, People who were 21, a lot of those motherfuckers have families and shit, and not enough time to probably invest in an epic like Elder Scrolls 6 will no doubt be. I'm not saying like I necessarily am that person as well. I will absolutely be playing this game. But I know, I thought it was interesting.
It's one of those franchises where, yeah, they literally sprinkle the breadcrumb in front of people and they're like, oh, that's enough for me to eat on, like to chew on for the next 3 years until this game comes out sort of thing. Like,
it's a reverse Fallout. It's a reverse Fallout.
Yeah, it's interesting how they almost have, like, it's from the same damn company, but yet one's this slow burn, year on year on year, tiny snippet updates, and then you get the Fallout franchise and it's like, oh, by the way, the game is out in 3 months' time or 4 months' time or something. I don't know, like, I'm super hyped for Elder Scrolls 6, like, take my money, but yeah, this thing is a ways out. I don't think we're going to see it on our current gen platform, which is, you know, probably going to be pretty tough, but yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no, you're not.
What was your one, Brendan?
I'm on the Bethesda train here too with my number 5, and I wanted to give a little shout out to Fallout 76, which obviously we talked about in some pretty good detail in the previous episode of THG. I liked what Bethesda did as far as showcasing the game in their conference. Like, they gave it a lot of time. It was almost like a sort of Q&A session where they were sort of, you know, pulling up a thing. This is what happens in multiplayer. This is what happens in the world. This is the new map. It's 4 times the size of Fallout 4. Bit of backstory on the area, like in West Virginia where that's recorded. You know, I really, really liked how Todd introduced every part that they were talking about, and then they tied it in nicely with the little old-timey retro sort of informational videos, and then obviously weaved it into gameplay. Like, it was really, really, really well executed. I really like the online aspect of it. Like, there's a lot of people out there like, I don't want to play this, my Fallout experiences are singular and I don't want to share and all this bullshit, but I like that they are allowing you to play singular, but then if you jump into, let's say I jump into one of your respective games, all my saves and my levels and everything will follow me in there, so it's not a fresh sort of reskin every time I jump from game to game. I can level up and carry on the story with yourselves as well, which I think is great.
Yeah, I agree with you on the showcase. I think I'll just come right out and say it, because I don't want to wait to the end. This is actually, I think, the best presented game in the entire conference. I think the jokes land. Every single one of them land. I think the presentation on whole was just flawless. Like, they get their audience. They get what people love about Fallout. It just fucking nailed it. I don't love the game. I don't really know if I'll play the game, and I sort of base that on. I played Elder Scrolls Online. It was a nothing online experience from a franchise that I thought was amazing. I think is amazing, and I just don't know that Bethesda know how to deliver on online games. I also don't know that they know what the fuck the Fallout Online experience is meant to look like. It just seems like they spin everything in a positive, but it sounds like a lot of nothing when you really consider it. It's almost like Minecraft, the Minecraft way of just saying, here's the tools, go and build. Except that's not what Fallout is. Fallout is story and world, and, you know, it's fine details that build this whole fucking crazy post-apocalyptic universe, which people love, and that's, you know, that's my impression of what people play the fucking series for. So I think it's lukewarm. I don't know that it'll have much of a shelf life, this game.
I think it will. Like, and it was evident in their presentation that they expect this game to be around for many years. You know, they were talking about ongoing server support and making this a living game, bringing in new content and new events and things like that. But two things that sort of piqued my interest for good and bad is there was no showcasing of VATS. And obviously that's one of the big things.
Well, how could VATS
it won't work online,
it couldn't.
so I'm assuming it's gone.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. So it's kind of like one core part of the Fallout universe that's kind of not there now.
Like I used to love trying to calculate, where the critical hit's going to happen, and this shot is going to either lead me to victory, or if I fuck this up, I'm dead, sort of thing. So that's all gone, and it's becoming more of a first-person shooter, which Bethesda do very well. But I don't know. That key cog in Fallout makes me sort of a little bit hesitant.
Let me throw another one at you, nukes.
Oh, that's where I was going next, yeah.
Right, this would be great, because I feel like you're about to talk about how fun it's going to be.
I think I'm on the fence, to be honest. Like, I remember playing Fallout 3 and deciding whether to spare or to blow up Megaton, remember, with the nuke way back when, and the amount of weight that decision had on it, where you either eliminate this small community or, you don't do it and it's got other repercussions in the game. Yet in 76, you go out and find these sort of launch keys in game, and then you can just drop nukes on anybody willy-nilly. Like,
yeah, it's like your base gets nuked for the 5th time in 3 months, as if you're going to keep going back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see the appeal there. It's more than just the attack on PvP. I'll rephrase that and say it's more than just PvP. Like, the nuke has another feature of being able to sort of burrow underground, and then, wherever's nuked is also a place where you can get a lot of treasures and stuff, and that's cool. I don't know. It's like,
It definitely lends itself to griefing and trolling. Like,
if I get nukes, dude, I'm making one person's life hell, and that's my satisfaction. Like, I'm just gonna troll people.
That'll be me.
I don't think I don't think you can really control them that much, because it is like there's no servers, as you said. It's kind of like you're just with a group of maybe 60 odd people at a time, and so you would constantly be changing groups as you log out and log back in and stuff. I'm guessing. Like GTA, it'd be like GTA, right?
Yeah, correct.
Where you're in the city,
certain instance,
and you've got your stuff in the city, but it's instant.
But the one thing, sorry, you go, Ellie.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, if it's like kind of like that, then what happens when you build your own little base?
Well, I think it all kind of. This could be me just talking out of my ass, but I thought I saw that there was like a thing that compacts your base.
Yeah, you can carry your base around. It's like, I can't remember the name of it, but it almost looked like a little mini suitcase thing, and you can deploy that, and it'll, I guess, somehow insta-build your base. But it'll also tie in, say you're in the game and I join your game, I'll follow, like, I'll be in your world with the universe you've been creating and sharing. And I think it's the same if you were to jump in mine. So I don't think we'll have our bases in every one, but they'll be saved to our own personal save, and then depends on who's jumping into whose game.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense. I look forward to having you all over for tea.
But the one thing I need clarification on is, what's the max party size? Because all the footage, and even just looking at when they had the parties together, it was just a maximum of 4 people. I'm hoping it's more than 4. I want it to be more than 4.
No.
Yeah. I think of like games like Monster Hunter Worlds, and I just think these games that have so much promise, they just never really stick. And I just see this as being one of them.
What do you mean you can be Mega Man in Monster Hunter Worlds now? What are you talking about?
Are you playing Monster Hunter Worlds anytime soon? Yeah, well, there you go, Mega Man.
All right, Dream. What is your number 5?
So my number 5, I feel like I'm gonna get shat on a bit, but my number 5 is The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Because I'm a sap. I'm an absolute sap. And Ali, you cry when robots like break down or whatever, and I cry anytime like there's a sort of quintessential Disney moment of like sadness or like uplifting courage. I tear up.
Calm down, Aladdin.
Like straight away. No, I do. And so like a game like this is naturally gonna tug on my heartstrings. I thought this looked like a really not fun, but like a really interesting game. It's obviously the Life is Strange spin-off from Don't Nod. And you got that on your notes, Brendan?
I just know these things because
okay.
I really enjoyed this trailer. I actually was the same.
Yeah.
I liked the tone.
I think that I think that it actually does a really good job of capturing a child's imagination. So there's this fantastic sort of sequence where he's transforming. I think it was in Sony.
No,
Sony's
in
conference.
the Xbox.
I might have that wrong.
In the Xbox conference, they debuted it.
Yeah, but it was in two. It was in two conferences. Oh, it would have been in Square. Sorry. So the one they showed at Square actually had the boy transforming into his gear, and it's his imagination of like the costume, shaping onto his body or morphing onto his body. And it ends with him and his hand up in the air, sort of like, yeah. And then it cuts out of the dream sequence and he's just standing in his room. He's got his arm up and he's sort of looking around and he's just coming back to reality. I think that's just that perfectly captures what it's like to be a kid. It's just you get so lost and caught up in your own world, and then all of a sudden you're like back and you're like, oh, fuck. And then, of course, it's obvious that around this, this kid with this fantastic imagination is this story about how everything else in this kid's life is kind of crap, and this is his escape from all of that. It was really cool seeing the snowman with the the firecracker in his mouth, and that's the fireball, the genius sort of things this kid's doing to sort of fill and live his dream. I thought it was just kind of touching. And again, I'm a sap, so I'm all for this. And this is out.
It's out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is
First
out soon.
episode is free on, I think, the 23rd or 26th of June. I can't remember what date, but it's out in 2 weeks' time. Have you played Life of Strange?
Life is Strange? No, I haven't. And
you really need to.
I'm definitely interested in doing it now. They were saying, the two guys from Don't Nod, when they got up on the stage to talk about this game, they were talking about how this is sort of an introduction into the world of Life is Strange 2, and how there are characters in this that are going to be sort of featured in Life is Strange 2, and all of that meant nothing to me because I had no reference for what happens in Life is Strange. I just know that it's a sort of, a story game where you're just kind of going through this narrative as opposed to playing something highly interactive. And even that is shaky. My understanding of that is shaky. So I'm sold on it though.
Do yourself a favor.
I think it's pretty cool.
And get your hands on Life is Strange. Play it through. You're saying you're a bit of a sap and you want that emotional connection and that sort of rumbling. It'll do it to you, man. Yeah. It'll do it to you. Don't Nod absolutely crush that space as far as sort of those narrative-based adventures with the heavy emotional sort of tie down with it. And I'm keen as for this. And first episode's for free. Hell yeah. In a couple of weeks' time. Let's play it and cry together.
Brendan, what is your number 4?
My number 4, I feel bad having it as number 4 because it probably should be higher up on the list, but
it is on mine.
Cyberpunk 2077 is my number 4. My God, the excitement levels went from 100 to 1,000,000 when this trailer hit, and it was so perfectly executed. The end of the Xbox conference, and then Phil Spencer saying his goodbyes. They get a cyber attack, and then it's straight into the trailer, and it was a hell of a way to end that conference. But no gameplay, but the trailer itself looked fucking phenomenal. It was so well done. The art style, the characters, the grittiness, just the coolness that it oozed. I think from start to finish, it was just I want to be in this world. I need to be in this world. And on the back of that, I've been watching and reading and listening to some people that have had some hands on with it. They've got about an hour playable demo behind closed doors at E3, and they're saying it is phenomenal. It's a mixture of The Witcher meets Deus Ex meets Crysis, to give you an idea. And I love all three of those sort of franchises.
Crysis throws you a bit, doesn't it? Crysis is a bit weird.
Yeah. Look, I gotta say, the trailer was phenomenal. I was disappointed that we have been waiting all this time and all we did get was a trailer. I also felt just a little bit shocked based on if we all remember when we all saw the very first like video for this for Cyberpunk 2077, it was this beautiful graphic of what we're assuming is like an android or a robot, and like the textures, the graphics and everything like that. It looked stunning. It was breathtaking. And I remember I was just like, what is this? I need to know what this is. And then, you know, crossing now to the trailer that we saw, and I was just kind of like, okay.
It's not the same game. It's not the same game at all. Tonally, it's very different to the teaser that they released 5 years ago. It looks like that robot that you're referring to, you know, she's got these two blades in her arms. She's obviously just killed something or things. She's been fired at by police. And she's being arrested or detained or something. And then in this one, it's like, oh, cyberpunk. You're a cyberpunk hustler.
Yeah, you're bad boys.
You hustle in this hustle city of cyberpunk people. Yeah. It's a different game, tonally.
The vibe that I got, and a lot of people are going to be like, that's a horrible thing to say, but it's a good thing for me, is I actually got a very Sunset Overdrive kind of feel, like a little bit, with like the funky outfits and the, you know, the future that they built. Lots of colour, but then also a lot of deterioration and everything like that. So I'm excited still. I'm sad that there's no multiplayer. I could have sworn that there was meant to be multiplayer once upon a time, but apparently it's just strictly single player now.
And apparently it's locked in first person. I don't know if they are going to do sort of the third person over the shoulder like in The Witcher, but it's from all the hands-on experience the last day or so, it is all talking about first person perspective.
That sucks, because I feel like this is the kind of game where you would dress up your character and get to see your character walking on the street.
You can customize your character. So maybe there is cutscenes where you'd see it and things like that. But in general gameplay, it's just through your eyes.
Well...
Where do you have this ranked, Alex?
This was actually my number 2 because of the general like vibe and positive nature that I got from it. I still have a lot of questions, but I'm still hyped for it. Like I based all my things here based on my hype levels and how much I want to play it. So.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. That's what it should be. It should all be hyped.
That's gaming. That's the gaming industry.
That's it.
That's what we measure everything on nowadays.
I have it as number 3, and I think it looks fantastic, and I am super hyped for this game. My one thing that irks me just like the littlest, and it's not even a big thing, but just no release date. So we still have no idea where this game is. Not even a year, yeah, exactly. So it's been 5 already, and to not have a year but have the trailer, like, again, nice, but just it looks amazing. I want to play it now. Tell me when I can play it.
You can play it after you play Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking 2020 when we'll see Cyberpunk.
Also, Phil Spencer.
He's the man.
This view is probably going to polarize people. I look at Phil Spencer now, and all I can see is Gavin Belson.
Oh no! I hate Gavin Belson.
I hate to say it. Gavin Belson's this character on Silicon Valley who plays like.
I know who you're talking about.
He plays like he's like the
he's the main foil, the main rival to Richard and the team.
Yeah, he's like the Steve Jobs kind of esque. Dreamer, visionary tech, tech leader who gets up and gives these like talks about vision and the future and life and things that are wonderful, and that's all I see when I look at Phil Spencer now is just this rehearsed speech every year, looking dead in the center of the camera, wearing like what I can only assume is a meticulously planned, lazy, get up designed to make him look like the everyman. I do like him, but I just think the whole fucking thing's just a whole lot of bullshit.
I agree with you. Like, look-wise, I feel like he looks like your cool uncle. like the one that comes every now and then
Yeah.
and has a really cool car.
It's like,
but
it's like you earn millions. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to dress like me, dude.
but I agree with you.
I want to dress like you.
I agree with you about the whole presentation. I think I wrote in one of the chats. I said I really don't appreciate that the whole thing has been like pretty much him jerking himself off on stage and then poking you in the face with it, like at the end, saying like, "Look what we did! Look what we did! Look at our achievements."
The amount of
You be nice to Phil.
the amount of people this year that got up and to say their name and the game they worked on, it was like they were announcing that they just invented a cure for AIDS. Like, I really want to cut a supercut together just of people introducing their games and just how serious they sound.
Or how awkward it was.
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys.
There was some painful situations on those stages the last couple of days.
Which is why, like, Bethesda was great, I think. Because, not all of it, but at the end, the Fallout 76 and Todd Green, like, that's where that's great. Like, he gets it enough to, like, take shots at themselves and, like, when do you have a crack at Walmart in Canada for the leak and stuff? Like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know, that's someone who gets it, and that's playing to the crowd in a really meaningful way. Not like fucking Gavin Belsoning.
No,
Anyway, sorry.
On the corporate speak, the worst was the EA conference for that, man. Like, they were out there towing the company line, just recycling stuff that the PR coach made them drill into their minds for weeks. Like, they are the Gavin Belsons.
Can we just take a break in the middle of this top 5? Let's just talk about one thing we really hated from E3, just for a moment. One thing. Mine too was EA. Like, I really hated that really crappy esports story they tried telling with that kid who was clearly a piece of shit.
He was a cocksucker.
He was whatever his name is. Don't tell me the story of like the rise to fame of an esports star I don't know in a game that no one gives a fuck about esports wise. And then interview him on stage only for him to be like, "Oh, chase that money, bro. Gotta chase that money." Or whatever the fuck.
No, he was like, I had a decision to make. I had to either stay in school, but I chased that money or whatever. And it was just like, it wasn't quite off.
That. Yeah. But that's it. It's like, what is your message here? Like, what are you trying to tell people? You're trying to tell people to be this wanker? Because it's gross.
Yeah.
That's the thing I hated the most out of it. And there was a lot to hate.
Well,
there was a lot to not like.
Speaking of wankers, my one thing I really hated was when Andrew WK came out and hyped out the audience and fucking rocked out, and the audience just sat there in their chairs, stone-faced, bored as fuck, and I'm just like, get up! You asshole!
I think
just nod your head. Just fucking hell. Like, it's so insulting.
I think just they executed that badly. Like, if they had him playing still, but start the Rage 2 trailer, like, have that playing live over the Rage 2 trailer, because I've been to these things and you don't go there for a concert, but like, it's cool to see him there, but you're not going to get out of your chair and start having a bop. Like, you saw most of the people in the crowd there and they're just like, "Where's the games? Give me the games. I don't know this guy. Where's the games?" Like,
it's like getting called out at a comedy show. You know what I mean? You don't want that. Most people don't want that. Some people, I'm sure, really love fucking old mate getting up on stage and rock rage or whatever the fuck he was yelling. Oh man, that was gross. What about you, Brendan?
My biggest gripe, I guess it sort of ties into some of the things at the end too, was Sony's execution of their conference. Watching it live, for the people on the ground, I'm sure it was a great experience to be moved from giant tent area to giant tent area. But for the millions of people watching at home, there's these weird intermissions and they're like, "We're going to be back in 2 minutes," and then 10 minutes rolls around. "We're going to be back in another 2 minutes after this short break." And you sit there and go, you're losing all momentum here. I just thought that was real sloppy.
And
like,
the
maybe...
stream broke.
Yeah, the Twitch stream broke, and then they had issues on the YouTube stream as well. I think just, Sony just trying to be too cute, like live music and everything. Like, I liked it, but that went on too long for both instances.
Bless you.
They did it last year to great effect when they debuted God of War. I think that was phenomenal, but you don't need to be cute with it and try and do it for every tentpole game you've got now. just show the fucking game. We don't care about the greatest pan flute master the world has ever seen, shredding solos for a few minutes. Like, I think whoever took over, Sony's marketing and direction for E3 this year needs to have a good hard look at themselves, because it was just, the games were great, but the execution, everything else sucked. The first half of that conference was disgusting.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I think that on a stage where everyone is trying to be different, they look most different.
Yeah, because they
undeniably.
Fucked up.
I don't think tech shit aside, like, put the tech stuff aside, because no one's going to really remember that. They're going to remember the games, how they were announced. And for all of I think there were like 4 core games they announced. Like, on one hand, yeah, you've got this pan flute fucking dude on stage for 2 minutes, and that can annoy you because you're not looking at a gameplay trailer. And then on the other hand, you can acknowledge that guy is giving an intro to Ghost of Tsushima, which is now a game that everyone is so hyped for. And when you look at how stunning that game looks, I won't talk about necessarily like how I think it plays, but how it looks. And you think of the atmospheres created by your man, the pan flute boy, it actually all helps kind of add to this feeling that you get looking at this game and the gameplays or the trailers reveal. Like, I think actually they did better than so many other conferences.
I guess we'll probably get to this.
Not conferences, you know what I mean.
Get to this more bit later, I think. Get onto the.
I'll defend that guy to the grave, Brendan. I thought he did a fucking damn fine
He did
solo.
an exceptional job, but like,
you could almost say that he's
not going to sell the game for me.
Can I tell you one thing that threw me though? Why was he white? Was he white?
Yeah,
very.
but I actually was reading up on him. He's actually like one of the top dogs of whatever that instrument is, and he's actually trained with the guy that's universally known as the greatest bamboo
You wouldn't have known
flute
from the
guy.
stream.
I feel like, of course, the guy that's the best at playing like this, whatever you call the style of music, it's obviously some ancient Japanese like folk song. The guy is white. Like, it's like the whitest thing you could do.
So I guess sort of moving back into our top 5, the game you just mentioned, Dream, I do believe that could be Ali's number 4 in our top 5 list here. Is that correct?
That is correct. Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know if I'm saying that.
Yeah, I called it Tsushiro. Sorry, Tsushima.
I remember the first time we saw this trailer and I was like, oh yeah, okay, this looks good. I'm interested. I'm keen. And then seeing it this time around, oh my fucking god. Apart from the friggin' blue balling you got from Mr. Panflute dildo blower at the start. But once it led into this, I was just like, this is stunning. This is beautiful. This is like, just from the soundtrack, the environment, the costume design, the voice work, and then it actually just moving into gameplay and then seeing that element. I was gobsmacked, and I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah. Pamphlet got you there, baby.
Moving units via pan flute. I love it.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ali. Like, it looked absolutely gorgeous. Like, obviously it is a optimized tech demo that they've put exactly together with every part they wanted to showcase to get that wow factor, but you can't take away from the devs for that. Like, it looked gorgeous. The scenery, the character models, and I know what Sam's going to get to, so I'm sort of going to jump in here a little bit first regarding when they did jump into the demo and there was combat and it was a little bit slow paced, but like, I like that they were sort of going more that traditional route where it is more the stance, and it's most of these fights did often only last a couple of swings because the swordsmen were so, elite and globally renowned.
Anything. I wasn't going to say anything, but seeing as you throw me under the bus here, my comment earlier before we started was just that it looks beautiful and it looks like it's going to have one hell of a story, but it looks boring. Combat looked boring. It just looked blocky. I
can see that.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, thanks. I'm glad we're not. I don't want to I don't want to take too much away from this game either, because I think it really does look beautiful. And who knows, like the combat could be brilliant.
The combat
when it finally gets released, but it did not look like it was jarring to me in the moment to see how smooth and fluid it was, especially like when he cuts that first guy down. It's like, oh shit, this is about to be some real samurai shit go down here, and then it just kind of gets into like bloody flat-footed kind of stomping around and like, you know, very simple strokes. Like it did not look amazing.
But you got to remember, like further on, like in the demo or the trailer or whatever, there is that moment where it extends and it shows you that you can you kind of slow down time and pre-plan your moves as well. So it looks like it's going to be a little bit strategic. And I'm only going to say this because I don't know. I only assume that they're not going to give away too much story-wise. So we only hope that maybe we saw beginning combat. So maybe not anything too intricate at the start, just to show you exactly what kind of style you'll be looking at. But you could be right. It could be really boring. Who knows?
No, you could be absolutely right. Like, we could be looking at a really early iteration of the combat system there, and I'm totally open to that. Like, I'm keen to see what this game turns out to be, but yeah, it's like, again, stunning, absolutely stunning.
I really like the combat. Like, it reminded me of Bushido Blade. I don't know if you guys ever played that, but where it is more calculated and strategic, and it's not just slash 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 slash. It is every move counts, and I like that they went with that. And sort of doubling down on what Ali said, when they did have that sort of slow, let's say samurai vision or whatever, where you could plan out, okay, I can one-shot this guy, then move to there. And there did seem to be a few different counter options where you were cutting an arm off, you're countering this guy using his sword against him and his pole arm and stuff like that. So we'll see. But it certainly hit all the right notes for me. It was close to getting on the list, but didn't make the cut. But Dream, your number 4, which is also on my list, and not Ali's. I just had to double check then.
No, not on Ali's.
Surprise.
And yeah, I know immediately long-term fans will know exactly what game this is, which is The Last of Us 2. Yeah. I like, maybe let's hash this one out together. I thought it was just a really well put together demo. Like the party, just starting at the party, as a displaced. What's the girl's name again? Ellie.
I'd probably like the game more if she was called Ali.
Yeah, maybe. No, like you start this party as Ellie, and I didn't like see that happening the way it did. You know what I mean? Like she ends up dancing with the girl. The girl's like obviously just broken up with the guy she's just been talking to, and it's this teenage high school party almost, where there's, you know, discovery, and there's also a sense of innocence there still. And then it just cuts to her ripping the jugular out of like this guy, and she's in one of the most desperate, tiring situations I've seen in any sort of gameplay trailer demo thing ever. It reminds me of like this fight scene in have you seen, you know, Deadwood, right? There's this great fight scene in Deadwood, I think it's like season 3, where Swearingen's like best guy, he's like main man, gets out in the street and brawls with this other guy who's the main bad guy's best guy, right? And they brawl for like 5 minutes.
It's a visceral fight.
Like,
that's where his eye gets popped out, doesn't he?
Yeah. Someone loses an eye, and it's like, in the end, it's just slow and gritty and dirty, and you feel every ounce of like how tired these guys are, just because it's just, you see it. And it's kind of what I felt like when I was watching this. Like, she's just killing all these people. It's a struggle. The danger's real. The tension's there. Obviously, she's going to survive, but you don't know where it's going. And she ends up killing this guy, and then we're back at the party again. And it's like, wow, this is a fucking badass mofo who's got like, but she's got depth as well. Like, it conveys such depth in her character.
Really? Because I felt like I was watching Tomb Raider.
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
I don't know. Scruffy girl out in the wild using like a pickaxe and a arrow. Bow and
The
arrow.
gameplay in a vacuum, sure, like I see that, but just the way they juxtapose that with her around actual people in a setting where she's just being a person instead of out killing.
I was just
I think that, yeah,
gameplay.
yeah, you're talking about like gameplay
Yeah,
stuff, bow and arrow.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, I shed a little tear at the end of that trailer, to be completely honest. I really, 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 really liked the original Last of Us. It's one of the best games I've ever played, and the story and the storytelling is phenomenal. And so I've got a bit of an emotional attachment, obviously, to Ellie and Joel, who sort of indirectly gets mentioned when he's talking about her dad. So I'm assuming that's still Joel, and I like that now it's just decided that, yep, we are father-daughter, which I thought was a cute little touch. The writing in that opening sort of scene in that barn was a bit weird, where that guy Billy came up and he's like, what is she saying? And then he's like, he wants to get back with the girl Dina, and she's like, I'll give you 2 weeks. And then he's like, oh, what's she saying? And then she's like, 1 week. And I'm sitting there going, hang on, are you sort of playing matchmaker? But then, obviously they share that touching kiss in front of everybody. And
I think it's a red herring. Like, I think they threw that in there. It's just like a red herring. You wouldn't see it coming.
Oh,
I didn't see that
definitely
coming.
took me for a loop.
Yeah.
And just like, as you said, when they did then cut into the actual gameplay itself, yeah, it was heavy to watch. Like, they were not holding back in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, like that opened up with Ellie stabbing that first guy in the neck, and then obviously sees somebody hung from a tree that gets disemboweled, and then she's getting chased by that sort of group of bandits, and the fight exchange in the open, and then also when they have the final exchange in like the pharmacy or whatever it was, and she stabs one person through the bottom of the jaw up into the head, and then at the same time grabs the hammer, flips it around, uses the spiky bit to impale this guy in his face. She gets shot.
Arrow.
Yeah, pulls the arrow
and,
out.
has to rip it out. Like, it's not just taking a hit; she's actually having to kind of deal with the wound.
Yeah, and
which who knows like how that actually is in real gameplay, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
They definitely,
the goal was good. I give it that.
Yeah, they definitely perfected the getting that sense of desperation, and every move and every hit counts. And I like the HUD. Like, it was literally just the little circular health bar in the bottom right corner, and then when she's picking up things, that would pop up on the screen. Like, it wasn't a real messy screen that you had to contend with. Crafting on the fly, I thought was pretty cool, and I liked that there was some sort of parry moves, as well as sort of being able to duck and move and use the environment. It looks good, and Naughty Dog, they are on top of their game. Like, no one can touch them as far as game creation goes these days, and I'm so excited for it. Like, that was my number 2. That was your number 4. Bring it on.
Not to crap on too much longer about this, but it's a really clever little trailer, because you get everything that you need to invest in the character without getting any story.
Yeah.
There's no story at all in there. All you get is just character, and it's so they do it so well. You're so invested in Ellie, or Ali, depending on
your accent.
It's probably Ali. I just want to get your guys' opinions, or maybe you even know, or you actually paid attention, between the scene in the dance and then to the action sequence. Do you reckon that was a flash forward or flash back? Like, which one?
I feel like this could turn around and not be part of the actual game. I feel like this is just something that they've cut together specifically for E3. It it just seems too contrived to kind of fit in a game, if that makes sense, because the whole thing's about I told you they should be scared of you, Ellie. Obviously she's talking about the boys taking whatever. I didn't get the girl's name either.
Dina.
Dina, so that's it. I did get the girl's name, obviously, just don't have my notes.
They're all up here, brother.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this will actually work out to be part of the game.
Okay,
I'm in agreement.
Which doesn't make it any less valuable. I think it's a fantastic trailer.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Dream. I think they've just cut that together because it sort of flows really well for that type of scenario in a conference. I think that probably barn dance scene is probably going to be one long cut scene where more will happen, and there won't be any violent acts weaved in or out of it. I think it'll just be a whole singular scene.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Or just to play devil's advocate, it would make one hell of an intro. Like one hell of an opening scene to the game, I think.
Okay, so you think it would happen before the action?
If it happens as is, it would happen like before the title shows up on the screen.
Okay.
Kind of in the same way that I think Joel at the start of Last of Us 2, like you're kind of just, it's where it all starts and it's him trying to get out of the house and stuff. It'd be like that.
Yeah, I was just curious if it was going to go down like, like a revenge kind of thing. But yeah, no, never mind.
But it's so good. My number 4 got me super duper mega hyped. Cannot wait for that game. So moving into our number 3, Dream, we've already talked about yours, which was Cyberpunk. Miss Ali Hart, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is actually Wolfenstein Youngblood. Like, everything about it sounds really cool. You've got Blazkowicz's twin daughters. They're out now fighting Nazis. But the main thing that got me, like, the Wolfenstein series is fantastic. It's awesome. Great action game. The right level of seriousness, but also fucked upness. That's a term. Lined up together. Is now. But the main thing that drew me is like, yes, co-op. They've said it's going to be a co-op game, and I'm just so hyped for that because I love a good co-op, and co-op in Wolfenstein just sounds fucking perfect.
Yeah, that part took me by surprise. Like, machine games, typically, they're just a single player, FPS experience. So I'm curious to see how it's going to go when you are sharing the screen with somebody else. I love the sort of premise where it is flash forward to France in the 80s. So we're going to see a bit of a different aesthetic, different climate. Obviously, two new protagonists to get behind. The Blazkowicz daughters. But yeah, more Wolfenstein is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
The new Colossus is phenomenal. One of the best shooters to come out in quite some time. So yeah, I'm keen. Sadly, it's a 2019 release date, which I thought was a bit of a hooey. But yeah, bring it on next year.
I'm a bit worried about their accents. I heard them at the end, and I was just a bit like, ooh. Hopefully they don't talk much. That's the only thing that kind of like tweaked me a little bit. I had a little twitch, but I'm hyped. What could go wrong with this, really? Set in the 80s too, you said?
Mm-hmm.
God, I hope there's a soundtrack that goes with it too.
Yeah. Dream, what do you think?
I'm not a big Wolfenstein guy. I haven't actually played any Wolfenstein at all. Wow. So this one kind of misses me entirely. But I get it, and I see why people are excited about it, and it seems like a franchise that, fans are rightfully passionate about. I remember you guys talking about the last Wolfenstein game when it came out late last year, and how fucking, thrilled you were to play it. I think, Brendan, you in particular were just, like, loving it.
Still am. Still haven't finished it, but still loving it.
Yeah. And I heard nothing but good things about it. So, power to you and them.
Thanks, Sam.
I don't know. I've got nothing to add here.
Support, Sam.
I'm clutching at straws, guys. Kill the Nazis.
I'll say one thing. During the presser, when they were just openly like, we can't wait to fuck up hundreds more Nazis and all that stuff, where they were just openly talking about killing Nazis, I'm like, ooh, damn.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
It's
nice going, Bethesda.
Yeah, well, when is it never okay to say that?
Yeah, but like, I guess
in a Trump rally,
it certainly escalated from when we said the PC friendly EA conference to things like this, where they're dropping the F-bomb all the time and stuff like that. It was definitely a tale of two shows.
Yeah, it's true.
More than two, I'd argue. More than two.
Yeah. More than two.
But yeah.
What about yours, Brendan?
Yeah, cool.
My number 3 is sort of a bit of a blanket statement, but it ties into the Microsoft announcement that they've purchased 5 new studios, or purchased/created 5 new studios to work on, obviously, Microsoft exclusive titles or Xbox exclusive titles. The few of them were like, I think, probably already acknowledged that they were just working with Microsoft, like Playground Games, who do the Forza Horizon series, Undead Labs, who do the State of Decay series, things like that. Like, they've only been working with sort of the Xbox universe or the Microsoft universe, but Ninja Theory is fucking huge. They obviously did Hellblade last year, so they are very well adept at writing fantastic story, very immersive experiences. So that got me super excited. And the last one is this new upstart that they've created called The Initiative, which, reading between the lines, Daryl Gallagher is going to head this place up, who is a former studio head of Crystal Dynamics, who did Tomb Raider. And, reading sort of the rumor mills on the internet, they're trying to position this studio to, I guess, be Microsoft version of Sony Santa Monica, so the studio that made God of War. So they want this almost as their featured studio moving forward, where they want to be making very, very big AAA exclusives, which is very exciting. I don't think we'll see games from these studios for 2, 3, 4 years, sadly. Maybe this is all slated for the next generation of consoles, but it's a positive. It's good to see Microsoft coming out and, planting their flag and saying, we know we did fuck up and we were pretty lean on exclusives. So here we go. We've got all these new studios.
Is that what they said? Is that what they said at any point?
Not in this conference, but Phil Spencer has said a few times about their lack of first party IP in a lot of interviews. So they do publicly address that they are behind in that space.
I just hope they look after the companies, like especially Ninja Theory. I hope that they just look after them and just go, oh, you know what? That thing you're working on don't like it anymore. Sorry, you all don't have jobs anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, and obviously that happened with Scalebound, with Phantom Dust, and with Lionhead doing Fable. But yeah, obviously there's still a Fable out there in the ether. Don't know who's making it or what's happening with it, but. Yeah, I'm just excited. Obviously, I'm a Microsoft or an Xbox boy first and foremost, so it's nice to see them actually come out swinging for a change.
Yeah, 50 games. It was an impressive showcase. If not a little over rehearsed.
Come on now. Okay, shall we move to our number 2?
Yes. So, Ali.
Well, mine's already been said.
Yours has already been said.
So has mine. Mine was The Last of Us 2.
Mine's a bit of a nothing number 2, if I'm being entirely honest with you. I'm just cool to see more facts about this game. It's Pokemon. I call it Pokemon Let's Go Bleh. Working title. Let's Go Bleh. So they showed off a little bit more about this game, and through the gameplay that they, the demo that they had available, I think, at E3, we saw a lot more about the game that got announced last week, or the games, I should say, that got announced last week. So the capture system is almost exactly the same as it is in Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. So that's confirmed. Right down to use of berries, specific berries for specific things, like if you're trying to settle the Pokemon or if you want to make them easy to catch. They have CP in this as well, so they have a level and CP, which is their sort of combat power rating from Pokemon Go, so that's also factoring in here, which means that integration with Pokemon Go is it's basically able to be 100%. Anything you catch in the real world should be able to come into these games, and you should be able to use it like a Pokemon you've caught in these games. Sort of downside is that it is actually just the 3D reimagining of the original games
of Yellow.
So you got to see Viridian Forest right up until I think Pewter City and Pewter City Gym, and the gyms in the later Pokemon games are actually really cool and clever, and they have fun little mazes that you have to get through. Whereas the old one was literally just a floor. There was a trainer and then Brock, and it's exactly the same in this. The other thing as well that I think is probably a plus for the game, and certainly a plus for Nintendo in the direction they like to take these games now, which is completely different to Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, is that your rival in this game is almost your best friend, super nice to you. There's some footage of him offering to help come watch you at the gym when you take on the gym leader, and he gives you five potions. Bring back Gary, smell you later. he was such a dick, and that's what made the game so much more enjoyable. Was like when you beat Gary.
I'd love if they swerved us and like he does all that, but then he's in the stands like shouting "jackass" or something like that.
It was just It's obvious like that this game is being reimagined for the audience that they're aiming to today, which is a much more it feels almost like friendly PC friendly audience.
You don't know. He might be.
I don't know how
poisoning
that's.
Pokemon.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. You're right. Mate, we haven't seen the full game. The other thing as well, or the other two things, apparently you can play the whole game using that Pokeball add-on.
Yeah, instead of using the Joy-Con, you can use the Pokeball as your controller.
Yeah, which sounds bizarre. I don't know how that works, but it works, obviously. So you mustn't need too many buttons to play the game. Probably just like the thing points at the screen almost like a pointer, like a laser pointer thing. I'm guessing you need like an A button and a B button, and that's it. Just like normal Pokemon games. Yeah, that makes sense.
All cards on the table. I did pre-order. I was going to buy it digitally, the Eevee version, but I pre-ordered the Eevee version because they also released that with the Pokeball addition to it as well. So I pre-ordered that today because you get Mew.
I was going to say, you know what you get with that? Yeah, you get a Mew. So that's the other announcement. So it justifies almost spending $65 or $70 for this peripheral. You get a Mew. Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of keen to see what this game actually plays like. I'm really keen, actually, I should say, to play it. And yeah, I was excited to see more about it. Thank you, Nintendo. Just a little update from our conversation last week about who the resident Pokemon master is. I just got a tweet from NATO. And NATO says something. NATO says, at We Are 8-Bit, at Brendan 8-Bit, damn right there's going to be a tweet, at Saleem TD. You think you can spend a few months flicking your phone and you want to step into my Pokeyard, boy? With 2 eyes. You get back to that Tekken before I whoop you again. Also, Miss Alley Hart, Pikachu can fuck right off. Winky face. So, NATO, I think on behalf of all of us, you can fuck right off.
Yeah. I will second
rude?
that fuck right off.
Yeah.
I'm going to side with NATO just because I want to see this rivalry continue. So I want to be on that side poking, and Ali can be on this side poking you, so we can sort of instigate this more and more.
Yeah, and also NATO, thanks for listening.
Thanks for supporting us.
Quick random tangent. Shout out to the You Game Bro podcast, which is now helmed by our boy NATO and our other boy Cruzy_mate. Available most Wednesday evenings at about 8:30 AEST, but this coming Saturday they're actually doing their first international guest in New Game Bro history, recording Saturday morning with Snowbike Mike. So check it out at twitch.tv/You Game Bro podcast.
World first.
Snowbike Mike, he has a voice that just needs to be heard. Like,
yeah, you
have to hear it to understand what I mean. Watch it.
Yeah, I want to get him to do all our new voiceover work for the podcast and stuff.
Please do. I'm like absolutely infatuated with his voice. It's crazy.
Okay.
I'm really excited to jump into this number one because these are 3 games that none of us have talked about so far tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that all our number ones are different or untouched in the previous 5 through 2 responses. So, Miss Hart, do you want to lead the festivities off for your number one game at E3 2018?
Yeah, so I took this into deep consideration. Like I said, the hype train, level of hype, and just more like in the level of how much I want to play it. Like the game I want to play the most soonest. I'm making up words tonight.
We speak good.
English good, speak I do. So it's The Division 2. Seeing the trailer, seeing the gameplay, and then kind of also getting that feeling of remembering how much I enjoyed playing the original The Division with like everyone and how much fun I had with that game. I understand that yes, it then eventually got boring and all that kind of shit and that stuff kind of happens, but I just really want to play The Division 2. Like I just got really hyped up again, and I've been following a lot of people who got to demo it, and I'm hearing some really positive things, and it sounds like they're fixing a lot of things, and it's they've also incorporated a raid now, so that is exciting as well. And I'm just really, really hyped to play this game, and I want to play it now. I've signed up for the beta, so yeah, this is my number one. This is the one that I kind of just keep on going back to, and I want to know more, and I want to play it now. So it surprises me too. So if anyone that's like, what? Yeah, it surprises me too.
I respect it. I think it's a fair choice for a number one to be pumped about. Division was a great game. It was a cool game.
Yeah, it was a great one to just
certainly
chill
very
with people.
different. Yeah. But I'm afraid I don't share your hype for this game. This game for me kind of came in. It felt like it was sandwiched in between different post-apocalyptic games that I cannot tell you the names of now because it's a blur. But I actually am having difficulty remembering what post-apocalyptic game is which. I just know this one is the one where the kids are playing in the yard and then it kind of pans out of the zone thing. And someone's getting shivved, and then a woman's inside holding a baby, and then like you go onto the other street and it's gross. That's what I remember. Yeah. There was another game. What was the game where it was like you have to control a tower of water and you can choose to like ration it out?
Yeah.
Is that Dying Light?
Yeah.
That one I liked. That's not my number one, but I thought that sounded pretty cool.
Dying Light, and then obviously Metro Exodus with the other one. They were all sort of almost back to back on the Xbox showcase as far as that post-apocalyptic, bleak sort of dystopian universe they're creating. But I liked what they showed with Division 2. Obviously, they showcased it at Xbox, and they also showcased it on the Ubisoft presentation. It looked good. It looks a lot better than the original Division. I think it's cool that they've shifted it to Washington. So they've moved it from New York to Washington. It's set 6 months after the first game, obviously on the back end of the dollar bill pox outbreak that destroyed society.
Mm-hmm. Clever plan, by the way. Very clever plan.
Genius plan, especially with America, like because it's paper, it's dirty money. Like it holds obviously all kinds of things. I'm trying to think, what's the word? I don't know. Germs. That'll work. Like as opposed to say our plastic currency where it's sort of almost wiped off, washed off. That paper holds the residue. But that's for the currency podcast coming soon to the 8-Bit Collective. But yeah, I liked it. It looked good. The scripted back and forth banter between yourself and your three squad mates was on the nose for me though. Like that just wasn't needed.
Even I wanted
where they
to
were
punch
just
that
YOLO
female
broing.
lead. I wanted to kick her in the face.
Yeah, and that's
yeah. It's because they were talking like they were actually commandos or something. It didn't land. It did not land.
Yeah, so that was a miss for me, but it looked good. The combat looked tighter. I liked that they planned out the DLC for that first 12 months where they said, okay, we're implementing 8-person raids. Then we've also got 3 free DLC packs for year 1. I thought that was cool that they got ahead of the curve. But yeah, I don't know. More Division's not a bad thing. I'm actually excited to sort of roam Washington with you guys because we had a good time playing this game. When was it? Early last year. Start of 2016, I think, right? February? Somewhere around there?
Yeah. If I think you're right.
But yeah, look good. I'm keen. Cool. It's not on my list, but it's certainly, I looked at it and was left that trailer and the gameplay with a positive experience.
What is your number one, Big Dog?
Oh, Resident Evil 2. My God, my heart exploded from happiness when I saw this.
Yeah, I could only think of you when I saw this.
Yeah, like it's probably my favorite game of all time. Like I played that so many times over. I've completed the game, I don't know, maybe 20 times, I reckon, over the years. I know the map and the world back to front, and seeing it like remade in this new proprietary bloody RE engine they've got, like it looked stunning. The character models look great. Claire Redfield, I thought looked a bit funky. They definitely went away from her initial design and sort of remade her for this world, but to see this game coming out just over 20 years later, like it's their 20th anniversary this year, and then seeing the gameplay, reading some of the hands-on that people are saying about it, and it's just glowing reports all over the shop, and then finding out that it's coming out on like the 25th of January next year. holy shit. It's like Christmas, birthdays, Easter, Valentine's. They all came at once yesterday with that Sony conference for me with that announcement.
Next year or this year?
Next year. So January next year.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
We're going back in time.
Like,
no, I thought you said Christmas. I was like, what? That's so far away next year.
I don't want this to seem like I'm taking an absolute bashing, and it's going to sound really horrible the way I say it, but so Resident Evil 2, when it first came out, obviously back then the graphics for its time were obviously like, wow, like this is so crazy, and so when they say that they're remaking it, I think my expectations for how the graphics were going to look just went way up, and then when I saw like the character models, I was just like, that's it? Like, I don't know, like, I guess if you're going to remaster something in this day and age with the graphics that we see now, I guess I was expecting a little bit more. So
can I go you one further,
Yeah.
Ali? Can I go you a step
Do
further? In terms of feel, this game and the last Resident Evil game are fucking worlds apart. The last Resident Evil game was terrifying. Actually terrifying. This looks like House of the Dead.
You fucking
It looks like
piece of
Devil
shit.
May Cry. It looks like the Devil May Cry game that just dropped.
It looks
just got
nothing like
announced.
Devil May Cry. Like,
It does. It looks like it just looks kind of sort of goofy almost. Like that it's called Raccoon City to me. I'll never understand why. But like it
taking shots
it's not
at
a bad thing.
fictitious
It's not
city.
a bad thing necessarily.
I'm
just trying to make you cry.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just surprised that if you're going to take a game and you're going to remaster it, and you're remastering it in this day and age, like you're literally going for gold. I just was expecting more. That's all.
Mine's yeah, and I'm just commenting on the game. The franchise feels like it went into a new space with the last Resident Evil game that it hadn't quite been before, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I'll agree.
It was a positive thing. Like they succeeded in creating a very terrifying game.
I'll agree, but from all reports, you know, those original Resident Evil games were survival horrors, but there were some campy, quirky moments in it, and they've done that in this, like the old puzzles where you've got to, you know, rotate things and find a button behind a painting and find a stone to unlock a door. They've gone back and put all that kind of stuff in, so they've been, you know, they've honoured the source material. They've obviously given it a pretty impressive coat of paint. Yeah, some of the character models don't look on par to, let's say, the trailer in The Last of Us 2 or Ghost of Tsushima or something like that, but it still looked fantastic. I don't know, maybe I do have a bit of zombie blood-coloured glasses on, so I'm sort of seeing it more positive than what it was, but it just looked phenomenal. The world looks great. I like that they've gone to an over-the-shoulder style camera, like which debuted in Resident Evil 4. They've changed the control system around to make it a little bit smoother. So, yeah, come January, I will be all up in this.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to shit on it too much, because I know that this is like your absolute favourite, so I didn't want to be like, fuck your game! I just pointed out what I just noticed.
You can if you like. And one last thing, I don't want to dwell on it too long. One other thing that I've sort of heard and seen is the zombies like when they get shot or attacked, there'll be bullet holes and sort of sword wounds, and so they take visible damage in the game now. I thought that was a nice little touch. But yeah, I've heard it's scary as balls. So yeah, January 25, let's get it.
Nice. This is nice. My number one is Kingdom Hearts 3, which Ali, just scanning through the little agenda we put together, I know is not your favorite at all. So I'll say my bit and I'll let you just attack afterwards. I just think that this game looks like a lot of fun, and yeah, it's got like Disney sap blah blah. I'm not actually a huge Disney fan, but the moments you see in there with it's Elsa,
It's
Elsa from Frozen, and like the Rapunzel one from Tangled.
Definitely
it is Rapunzel,
not a
right?
Disney fan. Definitely definitely not a Disney man.
No, it's like you. It's not Rapunzel, is it? But it's like Rapunzel. She's got long ass fucking hair.
It's Leslie Longhair. That's her name.
Leslie
Leslie Longhair. Sick burn. It just looks fun. Like the thing that I enjoyed about Kingdom Hearts games is that it takes you between worlds that you're already familiar with. Namely, like the ones I love it for are the Final Fantasy ones that you get to play through. So you get to meet characters that you're already familiar with. You get to play with them in an environment that isn't quite their own, but they're done in such a way that you feel like it feels natural and organic almost. Some more than others, but still, you get the point. And I liked, like, we saw the Toy Story stuff, I think, I want to say halfway through last year. It was when we were still at Hungry HQ. Yeah, they had the Toy Story stuff halfway through last year, and you were playing in like crazy little toys, shooting other toys. Like, that's cool. In this, we see like a bit more of that. Like, he's doing something with yo-yos, where he's like combat with yo-yos. It looks nuts. You're obviously in the Frozen worlds, fighting like frozen little sprites and shit. It looked fun, and it looked like every place you went was different. I don't know. I don't know why. It's probably not deserving of my number one. To be
No, it's
honest,
not.
But I just thought it was.
Not selling it.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm doing an awful job selling it.
I'll jump
Rip
in
into it. Tell me why it's bad.
Because I think Ali will probably drop more fire on it than I will. I haven't really played much Kingdom Hearts, but I just don't understand the tone they're going for. Like, they go from a nice, like, you know, a serious emotional moment, and then you've got Goofy in the back, like, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on here?
But that's like any Disney film. You know what I mean? And like, it's crazy. You're right. My first instinct when I first saw Kingdom Hearts was like, how the hell do you fit Disney and Final Fantasy together? Like, that's weird. But it works. Somehow it just works.
Does work.
And it works well. At least it worked well the first two times. Ali, what's your beef? I'm interested.
Well, I guess now we're heading into our segment, which is referred to as Worst in Show, which sounds like really harsh, and based on my opinions, yeah, it is. So I'll go into my Worst in Show game, which is Kingdom Hearts, with my little side note here, and we got to see how shit it was multiple times, because they did show the trailer a few times in different conferences.
Yeah, it was in 3 separate conferences.
Yeah.
3.
It was the same trailer in 2, and then I think Square got a little different.
Yeah. So, first off, I don't enjoy the Kingdom Hearts series. However, I do appreciate why people enjoy it. And I also liked one of the songs that came from it. I actually used to blast that tune quite regularly. I think it was called Sanctuary.
Consexuary?
Sanctuary, yeah. I think it's one of the
Sanctuary,
first
I know what you said. I just kind of wanted to make you feel dirty.
Why? I like my J-pop. But the thing about this particular trailer, first of all, the inclusion of Pixar. I'm not a Pixar fan. Second of all, Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's a Disney franchise. Of course it's going to be in there.
So, like, as I was going back before and kind of helping along, as Brendan was saying, like, he doesn't understand the tone, doesn't know how it works, and I said it actually does work. I totally have that understanding that it does work, especially mixing, like, the Final Fantasy element and then the Disney element franchises where it's, you know, especially just the stages, like how they're designed, it just works really well, and especially the combat as well. And having Goofy and Donald. I was about to say Daffy. Man, that'd be a good game.
Damn, crossover city.
Yeah. Having them as your companions, I know that there's a level of frustration there, but I don't think it hovers too much on them being like goofy, non-serious characters. So it does work.
Yeah.
But the inclusion of Pixar, don't need. And then the inclusion of the Pirates of the Caribbean, what the fuck? And then onto the actual trailer, where there was barely any background sound.
Yeah, the audio for the trailers was disgusting.
It was just terrible. And I never like criticizing people who can do things professionally that I don't, but the voice acting was terrible. Like, absolutely no emotion. Absolutely, like, it just was stale. And I'm just like,
Right.
what am I watching?
I'm going to give you my counter points / arguments. Most of them are just kind of like thoughts that don't have anything to do to like refute what you've just said. But
Okay.
on your last point about voice acting, none of that really, and the sound design, like none of that actually registered with me. I don't know how or why that happened. Like, you make it sound like it was horrible.
It was rough.
Didn't pick
It
up
was
on that.
really
Yeah, and you're
bad.
saying that too. It must have been bad. I must just have played too many like JRPGs that I'm just forgiving shit voice acting. I give it a pass immediately, I think. On the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, my like first thought when I saw that was, is that actually Johnny Depp? How much money does he need?
On that note, just to interject really quick, have you seen what Johnny Depp looks like these days?
He looks like
Not
death,
great.
and he's playing a guitar
Yeah.
with Alice Cooper.
He looks like Alice Cooper's dad.
He
Yeah,
does
he
actually
does.
look pretty good. He looks pretty close. On the Pixar stuff, I have no problem with that at all. I feel like that's obviously a personal vendetta you've got against Woody and Buzz and Slinky.
Hey, I have no personal vendetta against a Woody, all right?
Let that one sit for a moment. To wholeheartedly, though, refute that you call this the worst in show. Are you serious? This, you think, is the worst thing displayed? Like, this is worse than the 10-minute Command and Conquer bullshit we had to suffer through in EA?
Oh, that was cringe.
That was awful. This is not worse than Trover Saves the Universe, please.
I saw your answer,
will-
and I thought that was fair.
This is not worse than Maverick's Proving Ground.
Oh, that was
What
the
the
that was the new BR, wasn't it?
No, it's the new PlayerUnknown's Battleground. It's called Maverick's Proving Ground from a different company.
God, I hope
what
they're
I enjoyed
making
about
bread.
what I enjoy about this in particular, so when you see it, when it was part of the PC game show, when you see the actual game get displayed on the screen and stuff, it looks like fucking PUBG. Like, it looks very close. And then they bring the CEO of this company that's developing it out to talk about the game. And the guy was like, oh, so how's this one? What's new about this Battle Royale? And the only thing the guy could say was, oh, it's like 400 players. And if you do fives, we can have 1,000 player games. And that was it. He's fucking dumb. Maverick's Proving Grounds. He should be sued straight away.
Well, he might be, you never know.
PUBG Corp
Yeah.
should come for him after
Yeah.
they settle it with Epic.
I think with mine, it's just they had the absolute audacity to actually go, this trailer is so fucking good. We're going to show it 3 times.
Yeah. No, I agree. The fact that
but-
they triple stack this thing.
Can I? No, sorry. I got to call you out on that, Ali. Microsoft showed it because they wanted to show that they had this on Xbox for the first time, that they took away a Sony franchise. And Square want to show it because they're developing it, and Sony want to show it because Sony, whatever.
So,
Like,
my
there's a
point
reason
is,
it was showed 3 times.
No, I know, but my point is that it was a terrible trailer to actually give someone to say, yeah, show that as a representation of our game. Like, I just feel like if the game is really good, then that was a bad representation of it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Like, I watched that, and I love all those characters in those universes, but it didn't make me want to run out and buy that game.
No.
It's not, yeah. But, like, you've never played those games, Brendan.
No.
Yeah. Like, you... Especially because it's been so long between drinks for this franchise.
Is it 15
You have
15
to-
years? Is that right? Is it something like that?
It's definitely...
Yeah, 2004, 2005, I think, was 2. I think. Yeah, it might be. It's like you're either a fan from back then or you're a kid now. That's literally the audience. You're a fan from way back when or you're a kid now. Like, there's no getting people our age into this shit now. It's kind of too dumb a concept to sort of buy into now.
Yeah.
Even though it works, even though they execute it really well.
On strange concepts that I'm
What are you laughing at, Alex?
unsure about
makes
buying.
sense,
Yeah, I
though.
know, but you do like stitches, and then like just as you almost finish the stitching, you decide to like undo one, and then it all like unravels. Stitching's there; it's just a bit loose now. That's a sewing term, guys. Sorry, Brendan.
Yeah, assholes. I had a perfect segue then, and you ruined it.
She ruined it. Yeah. What was it? What was your segue?
Well, I was segueing into the game that I couldn't really get into, or I was left sort of questioning the hype that I had behind it. I'm still excited for the game, but worst in show, I guess it's probably not the best term for it, but Death Stranding just, I don't know, it just left me no doubt like the rest of the world, very confused still, but what they shown did not sell me on the game itself. Like, obviously they showed some actual in-game engine gameplay with Norman Reedus and a few other people who were just post-apocalyptic delivery men. Maybe this ties into that Kevin Costner movie, The Postman, who knows? But these guys are just walking through the world, delivering packages, avoiding this alien being that can be seen and can't be seen depending on what level you are. I love Kojima. Like, he's the man. He's a quirky, god of a human from the gaming space. But I'm wondering if, like, because there's no one in Konami to try and, pull back the reins, to try and keep him in line. Like, the quirkiness and the craziness that he put in Metal Gear is great. But now I think that he's got just open slate to do whatever he wants. Like, I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? I watched that 10-minute trailer 2 times, and I think I understood it less after watching it a second time. Like, it's just, what in the hell, man?
Don't leave your house without your baby battery.
Yeah.
You're left with more questions than answers. And yeah, like, you're right. It's just like, what is this? The UPS, the fucking simulator? Like, that guy was just carrying shit constantly. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it. I don't.
No, it's very bizarre. And it's 3 years now? Or is it 2 years since it was first announced? I think it's 2 years.
I think it's 2, yeah.
Since it's first announced. So, I guess if you want to sort of think about, like, it's been 5 years since we had a Cyberpunk 2077, explanation of what the game is, but the teaser was enough to kind of get us. It's been 2 years, and we've seen a lot of this game for 2 years. We just don't have any solid direction on what the fuck you do. What's the story?
You deliver pizza.
You deliver baby pizza things.
And just,
I love the little intro of, like, it's like the baby in the womb almost. It starts off with its bum,
and you
and
see
it
his
kind of
little
slips
bum
around, and it gives you like a,
I think that's Kojima,
thumbs
just
up.
like literally shoving an ass in your face and just going, "You're gonna buy this anyway."
yeah.
he's
I'm
just
still
self-aware.
reserving judgment. I just, what I really want to know is, what the hell did he sell on, like, to Norman Reedus? What did Norman agree to?
A bag of something.
Yeah.
I think they probably just broke down on that Silent Hill game that got scrapped when they did the PT demo. Maybe they just sort of hit it off then.
Please. Just make that.
Yeah.
Scrap everything and go back to that.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm still keen because I trust Kojima, but it's just spinning me out.
Why do you trust, like, Metal Gear, but
That's why
fucking
I
clearly...
I love the Metal Gear franchise and what he's created with that. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, this thing just left me underwhelmed.
He's a kid that reached the cordial bottle. Like, his parents restricted him, like, so much, and now he's finally found it, and he's just going full. There's no water. He's just going full cordial.
That's a great way of explaining it. My worst in show, if I see another fucking Justin Roiland thing, I'm going to go postal, because I'm a big... Like, I was a huge Rick and Morty fan, and I really enjoyed Rick and Morty season 1 and 2, and, like, probably most, 3 was not the greatest thing in the world. But it's like, because it's such a big thing now, and because it's a very unique thing, Justin Roiland seems to be sort of having this moment where he thinks it's always funny in any world, like the improv style of comedy that he does. And it's so fucking obvious, and it's so boring and crap. Like, it's fun. It's literally those episodes, the multiverse channel TV cable stuff. It's like those episodes, but it's all that. It's just, I'm going to improv something, and then I'm going to throw it an animation over it, and people are going to love it because it's funny because we keep fucking up, halfway through the improv, but we just own it. Like, it's boring, and this game looks fucking boring. What is this game?
Yeah.
It looks shit.
It's just Justin Roiland shit. It's just going to be Justin Roiland doing a bunch of characters that are all running the same gags.
Same characters, in our opinion. Like, yeah, you can draw the character differently, but the whole, like, awkward, like, the awkward...
Oh, it's 711 because we're in a different universe, and it's like, all right, I get it. You're aware that this is an improv, but fuck off. Like,
yeah, it was shitty. It's definitely on my short list of, like, low points of E3. Like, it just, I'm like, just end, please. Finish this trailer and on to the next thing quick, please. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Like, the more Justin Roiland shit I see, the less I want to watch Rick and Morty. Like, the more I hate that show.
That's bad.
I don't like... Yeah. Fuck him. He sucks. Anyway.
So, should we move on to our best in show games, or should we mention the conference that we thought did, our own opinion based off worst in show? What do you think?
I'm happy to go into the conferences and say what our worst conference was, because I think I think I pretty much established mine, which was Sony. Just to give you a bit of background, I didn't get to watch it live, so I had to load it up on the old newbie tubes and watch it, and I don't know how far I got into it and I fell asleep, so that says a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Says it was past 7:30 in the evening is what it tells me.
Hey, you may be right, but it doesn't mean anything. Keep me awake, guys.
But it doesn't make you wrong, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Miss Hart. Like, I think the games shown were great. I think the games themselves, they were fantastic, and the demos that were put together for the four main pillars that they went out ahead and announced that they were going to be focusing on a month back or whatever it was. I think they were well done, but just the rest, it was very un-Sony, like how unpolished it was. The transitioning from room to room for the local fans there, the tech issues, some of the back and forth, the audio issues, like Sean Layden's audio was pretty sketchy for the most part. Then crossing to the live hosts that were at that satellite Sony booth as well. Like, it just felt like it was very thrown together last minute, or maybe they had plans that turned to shit and they had to pivot last minute to try and make some of that stuff work. I don't know, but yeah, like the games were great, but if we're looking at it as a holistic conference, it was...
Oh boy, isn't this awkward? So I think this is actually my favorite one. If I'm being honest, this is my favorite conference, the Sony one, which isn't a popular opinion, obviously. So I think for the same reasons you dislike it, I really appreciate it. Not to take away from what you've just said, because I think you're totally valid, and those are valid points. And I think it's about what you expect when you watch these conferences. I appreciate... What I don't like about Microsoft is that they do the same conference every year, and it's the same stuff almost every year. It's like, it feels like it's even the same stage every year. Whereas Sony at least makes an effort to be different and also do it in a way that does a service to their games. And we already talked about Chaboy the Piper, and you both, I think, expressed that you didn't quite enjoy the fact that there was like a 1.5 minute intro to this game, and I on the other hand think that it's a great way to actually introduce this game that they're about to talk about and put everyone in a mood.
That's
and create a bit of atmosphere.
You agreed with Brendan in regards to Andrew WK starting off with the concert, and you both said no, it should be playing underneath the trailer.
Well, that specific one sucked. Like, that was...
Oh, come on. Don't you want to party
Mr.
hard?
Pan Flute is...
It's not the... But you're not wrong there, but, like, if you think about... when I think of, like, the Rage trailer, and that was, like, a dude trying to get bunch of people in a room to pretend that they were at a concert, like a metal concert, which is obviously not the case. And anytime you try and do that shit, it's like, it's dumb. When you look at the pan flute guy, anytime I think of that music, I think of it in its own, like it sort of sits on its own. I think of like Kill Bill and him playing it while he's telling a story, and how the music sits as its own entity, and then there's this other part. I don't know. Like, I'd be interested to see what people in that room had to say about the experience, because I would argue that would have been a fucking cool experience to be part of.
I would argue that as well.
To a degree. Like, I was there last year, and they did the God of War big live band of like the blah and all that. And I saw that, and that was live. But you were saying that Sony do stuff new. Like, they followed that formula again this year, where they implemented live musical acts in their transitions for sort of the main, tentpole games that they've got. Like, I liked it, but it felt a bit sloppy.
But I'll put it to you another way. We haven't mentioned Anthem once tonight. You know what I mean?
I know. It makes me sad, but I think they did great with it.
Really?
Yep.
Because you haven't mentioned it once. It didn't feature in your top 5. And, like, it's so unmemorable that it didn't even come up in, like, any other conversation we've had about E3 tonight. But we've talked about Sony quite a bit. We've talked about almost all of their games that they showcased. Like, those are results. You got to, they sort of speak for Sony on how that conference came together to deliver these games and deliver these memorable moments. I think just like what I think it is I think we expect these conferences to be one thing, and Sony just didn't quite do that, and it's jarring. And I think it is jarring. I see your point.
Well, this year they did get ahead of it and say they are doing something different. So, I guess they gave us warning, but I don't know. I mean, I just think the execution wasn't there.
Yeah, they get a clap. Yeah, well done. You tried something different. Ooh, but you didn't execute on it.
They get a participation
award. Good try.
The reason, I guess the reasons you guys dislike it are the same reasons I like it, and I can't take anything away from your arguments, really. Yeah. I see your points. I just, it fit for me.
I just think it's disrespectful to the fans.
Whoa! Wow. That's a huge statement. Why is it disrespectful?
I think just their lack of care on viewers' time. Like, the fact that there was, for the first third of it, where there was delays and delays and delays and delays and delays. Like, you could compress this thing down to 60 minutes, 50 minutes instead of 90 minutes.
But I sincerely doubt that Sony fucking cut costs at E3, and I also doubt that they did that sincerely as well, like wasted people's time. Like, obviously there were some tech fuck ups, so that on board.
The bits where they had to transition the crowd from the one room to the next, like that, where they're taking them across venues, like that's great for the people on the ground.
They spent
people
that
at home
talking about games, right? Didn't they kind of spend those intermissions with a sort of panel talking about what you just saw?
It was sloppy. It was sloppy.
Why was that sloppy? I disagree. I think it's kind of a great way to really stick in your mind what you just saw and have it broken down for you. A lot of the time you see this stuff and like things fly right over your head. Like that Ghost of Tsushima, fucking, that didn't stick with me the first time I saw it, if I'm being entirely honest with you. I just saw like a samurai game. But then when you hear the panel talk about it afterwards and talk like about how they feel about it, talk about how beautiful it was, it's like, oh, I should go back and watch that.
No, see, it's funny how things work. How, one person has one concept or one visual idea of how everything went, and then another person had a completely different one. What do you know?
Digital Devolver.
You mean Devolver Digital?
Devolver Digital, sorry. I'm not looking at my notes. Digital Devolver.
Don't worry, your notes were wrong too.
Yeah. Let me just bring this up. So I fucking hated this. It's not that I thought it was actually quite funny, some of it, the commentary of these conferences, but it just felt unnecessary to me. I think I just don't understand. We did talk about this earlier. I'll say the same thing again, and you guys can maybe tear into me about it. Like, if you only have 3 games and those 3 games don't have broad appeal, why go to the biggest gaming conference in the world to show them? Like, I feel like you'd find your market either way. And to the 90% of people who don't quite subscribe to, you know, your tone and your branding, and it is very offbeat kind of humor. It's like, are you actually doing your company a fucking service by showing up, you know, in front of all these squares like me, and just trying to pass everything off as like, we're above this because we get it, and fuck this, which was kind of the tone of the whole show. Only to show 3 games, which frankly, I don't think anyone really gives a big fuck about. You know?
Okay. So, you say, why are people wasting their time? Why did they waste people's time?
No, like, why would you do that? Like, is that for as a marketing strategy, is that the best marketing strategy for your company?
I think if you already have this angle of, hey, we are not the normal, we are not the norm, we are completely different, both in how we present and what the games that we push, then yeah, maybe being a bit off the cuff and almost it being now a standard where it's like, oh, Devolver Digital, I wonder what fucked up thing they're going to do this year.
Digital Devolver.
Get out of here.
Bitch, get out of me.
Sorry.
I think that could be an angle. I know that everyone was like, oh yeah, they're the ones that do the really fucked up ones, like the really weird shit, like happens in their conferences. I wonder what they're going to do this year. I also have the stance that if they have the power to present on a level such as E3, then all the power to them. I just don't see if you've got the power, you've got the means, why the hell not do it?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I agree. Like, they're very obviously anti-establishment. Like, they're unlike the rest of the mainstream sort of devs and pubs that are doing these conferences. Like, it's as evidenced by the fact that they hold like a little Devolver booth, not in the Los Angeles Convention Center. They have it in the car park over the road, stuff like that. So they're very much like we are, at, like, you know, walking to the beat of our own drum, and very quirky, and yeah, they're an edgy studio, and I like what they're doing. Yeah, maybe like they don't need to have a conference, but at the same time, I don't think some of these other heavy hitters need to have a conference year on year, where maybe they are just recycling the same stuff to a lesser extent. But I like that they've got a presence, and I like that they've sort of created this universe now, and they're telling stories through these conferences that have sort of started from last year and transitioned into this year. And at the end, when the ladies host, whose name escapes you right now, you know, gets gunned down on stage, is going to be, you know, transitioned into a potential femme RoboCop-esque character in, you know, the 2019 E3. So I like that they're sort of doing something different.
Yeah, I guess on your point about, like, do they need a conference? Maybe not, but so does, like, no one else. Like, just because EA squander their fucking show by not doing anything at all exciting, it doesn't mean that they don't need one. Like, they... like, to spend that time to showcase 3 games which aren't very good. Like, all of that theatrical shit, I feel like that theatrical shit is them overcompensating for a lack of a catalogue to, you know, to display.
I mean...
And it's fun. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's totally watchable. You could watch the whole thing. I was saying the point of it. And, like, that whole gimmick of the loot box coin, they spent, like, fucking 10 minutes, not 10, like 5 minutes on that gag that has nothing to do with anything. It just, like, again, I don't know. I feel like, I get it. I get what you're saying. I just think it's a waste of an opportunity, really, to go to E3 with 3 crap games. Like, I don't see the point. I genuinely don't see the point. I also don't see the point of EA going every year just to show sports games.
Like EA could back in with Sony and Microsoft.
But those are sports games that make millions and millions of dollars a year. Like, every year, routinely.
The people that go to E3 don't go to E3 to see the new FIFA and Madden updates.
No, I know, but it's like they lose nothing by getting... And they're games that have broad appeal, right? They have broad appeal at a huge stage. The Devolver games don't have broad appeal at all. So you're literally not aiming for everyone. You're only aiming for your target group. So why go to the big stage? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Not everyone likes sports games either, to be fair.
No, but, like, you can't deny that they have millions of concurrent players between all of their titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but focusing, like, Like, at the same time, yeah, Devolver do a bit more of a parody on stage, but then you look at EA where they're talking about the European Champions League Cup or whatever the fuck they're implementing in the next FIFA, and they're standing on stage with the trophies like, gamers don't give a fuck about this. The people watching E3 do not give a rat's about this.
No, they don't. But if you filled E3 full of companies like Devolver, no one would watch, because what the fuck's the point? There's nothing there that's interesting. Whereas if you filled E3 full of EA-style conferences, sure, it's boring, but at the same time, they're going to hit a lot of people with things like that. Like, there would be people who do watch that who are like, wow, that's so cool to see that trophy. It means nothing to you or me, but...
I'd say the vast majority of gamers couldn't care that watch those live streams. Vast majority aren't there for FIFA.
I'm like inclined to agree with you there, but at the same time, I'll take a million FIFA trophy-style conferences over, like, the Devolver conference. It just, you can't actually compare them. You really can't. Like, one of them is justifiably there, and the other one is like limping in with 3 crap games and an over theatrical show to make up for it. You know
I'd
what I mean?
rather remember a conference for being creatively theatrical than awkwardly shit.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you guys are blinded by your love for this fucking company.
I know. I just like
I really do. I
like,
think you are. Like it's actually.
I just don't understand what
crazy.
the negativity is about someone having a voice. That's all.
It's not a voice. It's like it just doesn't make sense to me.
That's fair.
Why
It
show
doesn't
up?
make sense to me why they can't. Like, why
I'll
they can't.
say one thing though too. Like, I was on the ground there last year, and their stand was packed for the 3 days I was there. So they're doing something. Obviously, yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, but
that's the best thing about gaming. Not every game is for everybody. Happy rainbow at the end.
No, but like
Cute
then
rainbow.
bring 10 games. Bring 10 games.
they're only a small studio though.
So why again? Like, this is my point. Why are you there? Like, there are so many small studios that do fantastic games, but they're not going there because they don't have a huge catalog. So it's not fucking feasible, or it just doesn't make sense to take 3 games that you make. It's
because a Sony, Microsoft, or a Nintendo aren't going to happily chuck them on stage in parallel with them like some of the other smaller devs out there. So they have to do it this way because they're never going to get some frontage with these other companies.
There are so many games like what's the one with the dude that's like a ballet shooter? What was that one called? Pedro, my friend Pedro or something.
Yes.
There are so many games showcased like that.
What got front and center stage though at E3 with a game like that, where it was just power violence on power violence? Like, there was no real story to that. You were just a dude spinning around with a talking banana shooting everybody.
Yeah, but there are tons of games that feature people shooting people. Like, I don't believe that you couldn't package that and throw that on. I just don't think that it's something Microsoft would go for. But it's not because I think it's more because of the quality of the game as opposed to the content of the game.
No, because you could package them into like the ID at Xbox, like, the little indie showcases. You can chuck them in sizzle reels, but I think it's just maybe because they are so left of center, the main 3 maybe don't feel comfortable with them being on stage with them, so they just do their own thing. So I admire that.
This is the same company that did genital jousting.
Yeah, great. Like, that's fine. Again, but throw that on a stage. and then show me how many people buy it. Like, do you think you're going to hit everyone? You'll probably hit a huge group, but not everyone. I don't know. I feel like I just defeated my whole point there.
Don't shame me.
Checkmate. All right, so let's spin this around to a positive. Dream, what was your best in-show game?
I already talked about it. It was Fallout 76.
Do you want to give us a closing wraparound?
Yes. See about 35 minutes into this podcast for my full argument.
What was a cess?
No, it's just, I think, again, like, as far as the game goes, it's not necessarily the most exciting thing there for me, but I do think the way that Bethesda packaged it and just the way it was presented was just on point. It was fun. It looked fun. It genuinely looked fun watching all the shit, all the little trailers, the little videos that they put together, the tutorials.
I love them.
Again, I just think they totally get it. They totally know their audience.
No, I'm with you. It certainly was on my short list. Miss Hart, your best in show is a game we also talked of earlier.
Yeah, I just took into consideration who I think gave an overall match of both trailer and gameplay as well. So pretty much providing everything out there, which was Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I just feel like it did the right thing by creating a general idea of a story. It showed graphics, both, obviously in video sequence and then also in gameplay. It showed you enough of gameplay to kind of get a rough idea of what you'd be looking at, and then just the general concept art and graphics in general was just absolutely awe-inspiring. So I think best in show, they did really well for me.
Yeah, this was hard. The Last of Us 2 was on my list for a while there for best in show. I also thought about Resident Evil 2, but I'm like, maybe not. That's more of a personal best in emotions for me. Anthem was one I actually had on there. And as you said, Dream, it's a shame we didn't talk about it more. I liked...
No, it's not.
I liked how they handled it. I liked that they got, 3 figureheads from the company to get up there and discuss the game in more detail. I like that they deep dove on that. Obviously, it was a bit different for an E3 press conference, but I like that they took the time to sort of unpack
the same
game.
thing you just hacked at Sony about, isn't it?
No, it was planned out.
Intermissions and talking about the games and
no, it was planned for. There was no, sorry guys, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Hold up, we'll be back in 5 minutes. This was okay. We're jumping in. I liked it, and I think after Andromeda they needed to do something like that. But I like Cyberpunk. I like the delivery, how they sort of hijacked the Microsoft conference. No gameplay, sadly, but CD Projekt Red make phenomenal games. Witcher 3 is one of the best games, ever. So combine that with sort of future punk sort of dynamics and art style, then yep, I'm in.
That's fair. I think all our tops are really fair, actually, to be honest. Yeah. And top conferences, I guess, Dream, we already know what yours is. Mm-hmm. You've planted that Sony flag firmly. Definitely not going to confuse that with a Devolver digital flag anytime soon. Nowhere near it. The Devolver's like the freaking javelin to Sam. It's gone.
I launched that son of a bitch into the sunset.
Yeah. I'm going to
What
say
about you guys.
I'm going to say Microsoft. I think, yes, there was a lot of same, they do have a formula, they do have a similar set design, I will admit. And the fact that there was 80 screens and Xboxes on the show floor there, yet nothing was doing, I thought that was a bit strange. But I like that they came out, they used their time well. Phil Spencer did was 50 games, 18, world first, 15 exclusives, they came out, clear message, whack, 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 whack. New Gears, new Halo, new Forza, some Crackdown, but that game just seems to be in development hell. Crackdown, I think, is going to be a long forgotten memory pretty quickly, especially now it's releasing in sort of that death zone area of January, February.
We have a chance, guys.
Yeah, my goodness. But I like that they came out and reaffirmed that they're about gaming and they got some new studios on board, and yeah, I like the message.
Yeah. Well, with mine, I felt my top one was Bethesda. I felt like they were just, for me, continually hyping me up, and there was so much great content in there that we actually haven't talked about, to be honest. So it started off a bit rough, unfortunately, with our musical intro and the unprecedented hype. I got hyped up. I guess I was a sucker or a fool, I guess.
It's because you want to party hard.
I do. I do very much want to party hard. But after a while, on the gaming content side, Fallout was definitely one of the titles. You've got a teaser, all the other shit that kind of came with it. But Prey as well. the new Prey content?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. They spent a lot of time on it, which I didn't think was completely necessary, but it's cool to see, like, Bethesda support their games pretty damn well. You know, they give them the time of day at these conferences. Like Elder Scrolls Legends got floor time and stuff like that. The Doom Infinite announcement was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like, give me more Doom. Like, hells yeah. But yeah, I like Bethesda. I love Bethesda.
I don't know. I felt like I was continually engaged into the Bethesda. Very music based, actually. Now that I think about it, because I'm like, the Doom always has great soundtrack. With the Prey content that they're providing, like new DLC, there's the one that's on the, is it on the moon or Mars? I think it's
called like Moon Crash.
Yeah. And then it just kept on playing You Spin Me Right Round, and I was just so hyped. I don't know. For me, I just felt like I was continually engaged. There was a lot of great content in there, and there was still the awkwardness, like a lot of awkward presentations, but I think with most of these major conferences, you're going to have that continually. So I just felt like, Bethesda did it for me.
Most definitely. All right, so that wraps up our very in-depth E3 discussion here at the Hungry Gamers. We're rolling in over 2 hours worth of talk here, some heated banter, which we love. I think Sam's still a bit angry that we were on Devolver's side a little bit there. I can see a little bit of fire coming out of the nostrils and some steam out of the ears, but
not at all. You guys are like totally fine. I'm actually very cool.
You are pretty cool.
You guys just have fucking shit taste in things. It's amazing.
We'll unpack that on another episode. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add?
Editing this thing is going to be a nightmare. Sorry.
We it's going to be fun. But anything else you want to say? Any other last sort of quick honourable mentions regarding E3 that you've seen before we start saying goodbye for another week?
For the most part, very lackluster. I feel like we've had some better E3s. But saying that, there's some games in there I'm excited about. Where's our Red Dead?
Yeah, like no Red Dead, no Rocksteady. They were absent. There was a lot of rumours about... Yeah, no Borderlands 3. But there was rumours of a Superman game by Rocksteady that might pop up. There was a lot of absent titles. No Splinter Cell. It's weird. But a lot of good games on the horizon. Yeah. No debating that. But yeah, as a collective, hit us all up on the socials at We Are 8-Bit. On the YouTube, obviously, at We Are 8-Bit. Also, check out all the content from all our other hosts via the hashtag 8-Bit Collective. There's 10 podcasts part of that collective now, as well as a couple of very talented video creators. You can find me at Brendan8Bit.
You can find me at Miss Ali Hart.
And you can find me at Saleem TD.
Okay, Bit Nation, we're back with our more usual structured programming next week on the 109th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. But until then, much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.